Jameer Gibbs to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. 14 yards on the strike. Goff to Gibbs. You can't cover that man one-on-one. You just can't do it.
Nice job.
Jared takes the snap, back looking, throwing middle. Got Amon-Ra inside the 2, to the 1, to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Nice job.
Mariota's got it back. Pressure comes. He's hit. Slips out of it. Rolling to his right. Now he's going down. Brian Branch got him. Sack for the Lions. Snap taken by Mariota. Wants to throw it. Gonna get hit. Gonna get sacked.
Yes,
Take it
sir.
down. Brian Branch got him second time today.
Nice job.
Hands it to Gibbs, running right, runs through a tackle, gets down to the 10, Gibbs through the 5, still fighting, down to the 2, down to the 1, to the end zone!
Yes.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! He did not quit!
Nice job.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again!
All right, good morning. Welcome into the Rise and Grind Morning Show, your Detroit Lions news and rumors each and every day, Monday through Friday, right here on Rockhound Detroit Lions. Last night was a demoralizing loss. Of course, we're going to talk about it all morning long. Has the NFL finally showed us their cards, is my question. When is enough enough? I know a lot of people don't want to blame the refs, and I get that. So don't blame the refs, blame the NFL. Because last night's display of lack of calls or calls for a touchdown that did not exist, they're now just flaunting it in our face. I'm not the only one saying this. Everyone around the country, not named a Rams fan, is saying it. So let's get off and running. We'll bring Eric in, and we're gonna have a conversation about it. I got a couple of adjustments I got to make, so let me get Eric in, and we'll get rolling. Good morning, man.
Hey, good morning.
Let me touch up a couple of lights. I'll be right back. But go ahead, run off with it.
All right. Well, first of all, I got to start off today by saying my thoughts and prayers are with Chris Collinsworth this morning. He no longer has the Kansas City Chiefs to root for in the playoffs. So, yeah, there you go, Chris Collinsworth. Poor guy. Now, I don't make fun of injury whatsoever. I'm not making fun of Mahomes, just making fun of Chris Collinsworth because he was always very much a homer on every broadcast of every Chiefs game ever. So I think it's kind of funny that the Chiefs are not going to be in the playoffs this year. Going to be some big changes coming for that team next year.
How much longer is it going to last, Eric?
What's that?
Lions fans, how much longer are we going to last? Because I'll tell you right now,
I don't know. They're jumping ship like crazy right now.
I mean, I don't care I don't care about the bandwagon fans. I guess what I'm saying is,
but I mean, even just fans. Listen. I had multiple messages this morning. Are we eliminated? Is that it? Are we done? I'm like, no, we still have hope, but we have to win out and we have to have other teams lose some games. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Because I personally, I think even if we win out, if the Bears don't lose a game or two here, we're done. Even let 11-6, even if we beat the Bears, they might be resting their starters because they don't even need to play in Week 18. How in the beginning of the season we thought we might be resting our starters, they might be resting theirs.
They definitely have to play in Week 18. So the playoff scenario looks. I mean, I guess we'll get into the playoff scenario in a minute, but If you look at the NFL standings right now, the Bears have a 2-game lead, but we have a 1-game tiebreaker over them right now.
Yes.
Okay, so what needs to happen, which we expected to happen, would be that the Packers would be able to win. That is unlikely now with Parsons and Watson likely out for the next game. Okay, so the Bears are 10-4, the Packers are 9-4, the Lions are 8-6. So there's a 2-game lead.
Yep.
And we have the 1-game tiebreaker if we ended up in a tie somehow. They go on to take on the Packers. If the Packers don't beat them, then they move to 11-4.
Yep.
But if they lose the last 2 games, or if Denver beats them and we beat them and we win out, we're tied, and then we have the tiebreaker, we still win the North. I said last night, and I'll say it again this morning, I think that this has been scripted to be Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell, Week 18 for the North.
For the NFC North. That would be great. I mean, that'd be one hell of a story, one hell of a storyline. But to me, it's starting to feel like it's slipping away.
It is to a degree, but if you look at what's happening around the league, okay, the Eagles are in the NFC East, right? The Bears are definitely in the playoffs somewhere.
If the Eagles win this Saturday, that's it. They win their division.
The Bucks and the Panthers are knotted up at 7-7, so one of them will be in for sure.
Yeah,
so that's Eagles. No. Yep. So that's Eagles, Bears, Bucks, or Panthers. So that's 3, right? Rams are definitely in. Seahawks are definitely in. 49ers are in because they're 10-4. So they're in for right now. The only way that their 49ers are out is if they lose the rest of their games and we win out. Then we would be in over top of them. But let's just take the 3 teams from the NFC West. We'll take 1 from the NFC South. Let's take 1 from the NFC North for now, and the Eagles. That's 6 teams. There's room for 1 more. I don't think the Panthers can catch us at 7-7. The only way that they can catch us is if we lose another game or 2 games, and then they could catch us. Okay,
I think the Panthers take that division, though.
The 49ers have already counted in. Well, then that means the Bucks would end up falling out, and they wouldn't be able to catch us.
Yeah. Well, we have a. It'd be better for us if the Panthers win tonight, because then they would be in lead of that division, and if they win that division and we're going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we own the tiebreaker over the Buccaneers because we beat them head to head.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying. I mean, if they don't win their division and we somehow end up tied with the Bucks this year, yeah, we would have the tiebreaker. Yes, that is correct. I don't think that division's a huge factor for us at this moment. Let's just jump to week 16. So taking a look at week 16, it does not matter now what happens between the Seahawks and the Rams, really. Let's just say the Seahawks win. It's unlikely, but it could happen. Green Bay and Chicago next week. What a timely opportunity for Ben Johnson. I feel like this whole effing season for them has just been super lucky. They get a shit schedule. Lions eat a shit sandwich. It's not even fair. We get a hard schedule, which we deserve. They get an easy schedule because they suck. And then the Lions eat a shit sandwich with all these damn injuries and the refs that look, I think bold statement number 1. I'm going to ask you guys later if the Lions made a mistake in their hiring process. But that'll be in a video, so you're going to have to wait for that one. The biggest question is, has the NFL finally just said, you know what? Lions, you pissed us off. You pissed us off because of the way that you play football. And they've just been attacking us ever since. It seems like they give us a little bit. You can have a little bit of rope, and then they yank it back. And they wield their power against you. And they fix your games, and they rig your games, and yada, yada. We'll get into that in just a moment, too. But let's just say the Bears end up beating Green Bay because Green Bay right now is down 2 of their star players. I have not heard a final update on Parsons, but it was a non-contact knee injury. I watched it happen live. While I was watching the Lions, I had the Packers going and doing some updates during the live stream. and it looked bad. I mean,
He's done.
his knee went all the way in, and the rest of his leg went the other direction, and then he went down. It looked like Watson had a separated shoulder at the beginning. Then they ruled it a chest injury. Look, they did the same thing with Ahmed. They've done the same thing with Davenport. They don't know what it is until they do an MRI, right? And once they get the MRI, they'll figure out what it is. Let's just say the Bears beat Green Bay, and then Philly beats Washington, and then Carolina beats Tampa. Who cares what happens with the Bills? I don't care what happens with Cincy. We'll give them a win for the hell of it. The Chargers and Dallas, hell, we'll just give Dallas a win. Why not? We'll give New Orleans a win. We'll give Minnesota a win, which, I mean, they're riding hot right now. They could even leak in, you would have thought. Kansas City's out. Tough nuts for Patrick Mahomes, torn ACL yesterday. Tennessee, we'll say they beat Kansas City. Unlikely to happen. Atlanta, we'll go Denver over Jacksonville. That's going to be a tough game. Lions have to beat Pittsburgh. I got to take the win. Houston, they're riding hot right now. There's potential that they could do some damage. New England, I think that they're all set at the top of their division, but they could still get the 1 seed. We'll say that they beat Baltimore. San Francisco and Indianapolis. You know what? Phillip Rivers yesterday, I'm sure we'll comment a little bit on it later. I can't believe that he almost had them into a win until the end. That was all defense, but that was crazy to me. Let's just say Indy pulls up an upset against San Francisco for right now. Week 16. Week 17. So Lions are still out of the playoffs at this point. We'll give Dallas another win. We'll say Lions beat Minnesota, and that is not a gimme game. That is not a gimme game. Minnesota's defense tore us up. We'll say Denver beats Kansas City. We'll go Houston again. We'll say Baltimore beats Green Bay, especially if they're injured the way that they are and it continues. That's likely. We'll say Carolina pulls an upset on Seattle. We'll go Cincy again. Why not? Because Joe Burrow's not having fun. We'll go Raiders. We'll go Pittsburgh. We'll go Jacksonville again. We'll go Tampa Bay over Miami. New England. Just going to hurry up and fill these in because I don't really want to go through this whole damn thing today. Right now, anyway. San Francisco, they've got to beat the Bears week 17. We'll say the Rams continue to win. Week 18, right now the Lions would be the 7th seed if Green Bay loses to Chicago and the Lions beat Pittsburgh in week 16. And Indianapolis beats San Francisco, which San Francisco's already in. I'll give San Francisco a win. They're the 1 seed.
Mm-hmm.
As of week 16, if I were to give them a win, they would be the 1 seed. It's just crazy how all this can still flip. That's if LA loses to Seattle. So then week 17, I have the Lions.
If the Lions had to go on the road and play a road playoff game.
Oh, we are.
I would not be I know, but I would not be disappointed if that road game happened to be in San Francisco.
I mean, I wouldn't be disappointed either, but I think it's going to be a really tough game. Week 17, I have the Lions beating Minnesota. That's a must. It's a must win. I have Green Bay losing to Baltimore. Let's flip that. If Green Bay beats Baltimore after what I changed in week 16, Lions are out. And now Green Bay's the 7th seed. Okay. Let's move on to week 18. Lions have to beat Chicago. If the Lions beat Chicago and Green Bay loses to Minnesota, Lions win the North. So to me, here's the most important games of the season for the Lions and our opponents in the NFC North. I think the only way that this really goes down good for us, obviously we have to win out. That's a no-brainer. But week 17, I think is the most critical game of the stretch right now is Baltimore and Green Bay. If Baltimore can beat Green Bay, and even if Green Bay loses to the Bears in week 16, the Lions win the North at 11-6 as long as we take care of business in week 18. So they say we have a 40% chance of making the playoffs. We still have a chance of getting a 3 seed. We're not totally out. We're not. So it's not all doom and gloom, but I am pissed off about last night's game for many reasons. Let's do a hard reset when we come back. Let's get into what happened last night. I got to get the chat open. I don't even know who we got in or what we got going on. So be right back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
3 seconds. 2 seconds. 1 second. All right. Now that I said all that, Eric, look, we're not totally out.
No, I understand that.
But
this is just a very hard pill to swallow from last night.
Oh, 1,000%.
You were up by 10 going into the second half. Very hard pill to swallow.
Okay, so let's break it down a little bit as far as like quarter by quarter. Okay, so you know, both you and I were talking last week right here and said, you know, Dan Campbell has to take the points. Dan Campbell goes and takes the points in the first opportunity in that first drive, and we miss the freaking field goal. How do you miss a chip shot, Jake Bates? How do you? And so then, like Dan said last night at the podium, he's like, okay, so, you know, I take the points, and if I go for it right there and we don't make it, well, then I'm in trouble, like I am every week, right? But had he gone for it, and so then he tries to take the points and misses it, and so then you see the other side of that. Fans like, why did you go for it? It's like, come on, which side of the bipolar are we today? Are we Dan Gambles or are we Dan take the points? I think it was important to take the points in this game. However, like I said last night during the live stream, field goals were not going to save us against the Rams. They were too good. They were moving the ball too well. There was no way that we were going to be able to win this game based on field goals. So you had to take the first opportunity. I get it. And then after that, you really needed to try to drive touchdowns. But there was some drive killers in last night's game. Namely the refs. A couple of on both sides of the ball. Play calling was atrocious. Let me get play-by-play open here in the beginning of the game. What stuck out for you in the first quarter?
Well, speaking of that kick, the first thing I said to Bob and Rafe, my buddies I'm watching the game with, is that's it. He's going for fourth down on every single fourth down the rest of the game. I said he has completely lost faith because they showed his face. They showed Dan Campbell's face. He was pissed that Bates missed that field goal. Now, that field goal in the grand scheme of things really didn't make a difference because we lost by 7. That would have made us lose by 4. Not that big a deal. But shortly after that, going for it on 4th and 1 from our own 30, I thought was absolute insanity.
Oh, it was. But they got it.
They got it.
They called the one play that I hate, but they got it.
They got it. And listen, I even said Dan Campbell's lost his effing mind. That's it. He's going to go for every fourth down. He's going for broke. And I thought for sure he was going to pull out the kitchen sink and have trick plays and all this. Nothing.
Oh, I said no trick plays were happening.
Yeah, it was no trick plays whatsoever.
We needed it.
There was only the one trick play where they did the hook and ladder at the very, very end of the game. And like J-Mo came off the line so super slow on that play. I'm like, what's going on? I was like, he's jogging.
Yeah.
And that was why he was jogging, but that was at the very end of the game.
I got to say this real quick. Last week, Friday, I gave 2 scores. And I said, if the Lions offensive line falls apart, can't run the ball, we lose. And we lose 37-27. So I had a 10-point loss. We lost by 7, 41-34. I said that if we can run the ball, we'll win 31-24, which was more reminiscent of this game being a 7-point game. I thought it would be within 7 to 10 points at the most. And that's kind of what we saw last night. Offensive line fell apart. There was more than that. There was more issues than just that. Because then I think in the pass pro, I think the offensive line did great. But against the run, we couldn't move the ball. But was it all the offensive line's fault? I don't think so. I think the play calling had a lot to do with it. Maybe some mismanagement of Monty versus Gibbs. We've been hearing that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric, your score prediction was what?
41-30. Yeah, let me see. I'll get right on it here. So my score prediction for this game was 41-34.
Flip it. And you got it right?
Yep.
Just flip it.
I had the exact right score. I mean, I nailed the score just for the opposite teams.
Why didn't you just say that the Rams were going to win 41-34, and then that way it would have flipped, right? You know, you rub your little crystals together over there, and it would have flipped.
Yeah,
crazy.
I also said that Goff was going to have a big day and have his most passing yards in a game for 2025, and he was going to have 0 interceptions. So I got 2 parts of that right. And I also said that Aiden was going to have his biggest day of the season. I said he was going to have 2 sacks. He had 1.
Mm-hmm.
I said that he was going to have 2 pass deflections. He had 0. But I did say he was going to have an interception, and Aiden had an interception.
He was gift wrapped a present before Christmas. It has happened to him twice now. Once with Aaron Rodgers and once with
he did that twice to Aaron Rodgers in one game.
Yeah, but it's happened to him twice where that ball is just thrown right into his hands. And you could see what went wrong.
That stupid little sidearm thing.
Well, you could see what happened on that play. So the tight end went out to block Aiden and then turned and released. It's a little tight end screen. And so what I thought during the game was, did Matthew Stafford feel like, thought that they were in their whites, right, for a minute? Because they look kind of similar, no yellow, but kind of similar.
Forgot what team he played for
forgot that they were in the other color that night. That's what it looked like to me, because you don't throw that ball right into Aiden's hands like that unless it's scripted. Kept hearing that last night too. This is awfully scripted for you to give Aiden an interception too easily. That's not a Matthew Stafford mistake, right? Matthew Stafford doesn't make those kinds of mistakes ever. So I don't even see how that. Whatever. I'll take the tinfoil hat off for a while. It's just going to piss fans off even more. Yeah, Derek Lewis, that's a big problem. The penalties, we'll talk about that here in a moment too. I don't know, Eric, if you got something open, but let's take some notes on things that we want to touch. I've got some questions in here. We've got penalties. Penalties we need to touch on. Is the NFL rigged? What's at stake? I've got a big question on betting. And then there's another giant question that came from fans this morning. Actually, it came from 97 The Ticket. And I don't believe it, but we'll talk about it. And it has to do with ice cream. We'll be right back on that. Well, I say ice cream because I don't want to give it away, but it kind of has something to do with ice cream.
It's a little cold for ice cream right now.
Man, I swear I have ice cream almost every day, or somebody does in my house.
It's freezing here.
Play-by-play in the first quarter. Lions miss a field goal, 8 plays, 40 yards, moving the ball. I mean, like clockwork. Lions are moving down the field, sprinting down the field. And then what happens? We get a 10-yard penalty on Penei Sewell, offensive holding. And you could call it holding.
Mm-hmm.
You could. I mean, he kind of got his arms wrapped around the guy. I feel like those plays happen on every run play. Penei Sewell was trying to get up and seal block, moving towards the second level, and the guy got swallowed up inside his arms. Is what it is. Okay, so that bounces us back. But we go 4-yard run, 8-yard pass, 22-yard pass, 10-yard penalty, 2-yard run. That should have woken us up already. And then an incompletion, then an 8-yard pass, and then a field goal missed. At that point, it's like, oh God, what's happening here? How do you run down the field and you don't come away with any points, right? Well, they go 6 plays when they get the ball back, but on that 5th or 6th play, they throw an interception to Aiden. Aiden runs it back, 58 yards. Lions go one play, touchdown. One of my biggest calls of last week was what, Eric? Do you remember?
No.
Come on, man. I know we have a lot we talk about, but I say, what do I say about the red zone?
Throw it in the friggin' end zone.
Forget the red zone, right? Go straight to the end zone. What did the
Yeah.
Lions do last night?
Oh, we were throwing it right in the end zone.
Forget the red zone. They were going straight to the end zone. And this is the first time I've seen this offense do that. It's almost like Dan Campbell was listening in last week and all season and finally decided, you know what, maybe there's something to that guy that's always yelling at me to go to the end zone. Because you know why? Every other team that is successful this season does it. And they do it against really good defenses because when you get into the red zone, I mean, it's like, right? You have no space and you're up against one of the best probably defense in the league. You can't move the ball in the red zone against that team. They're one of the best red zone teams in the league. So that's why when you're at the 30, you're at the 35, and you've got guys like J-Mo and Amon-Ra and Tesla, you have to get that ball downfield. At a minimum, you have to take at least one shot and see if you can come up with either big yardage or if you can get a touchdown, which happens. So one play, 17-yard strike to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That opens up the game. Lions on the board, 7-0. But then the Rams get the ball back. And they sprint 13 plays, 72 yards, take 5.5 minutes off the clock. And it just looked bad. We couldn't stop anyone. Incompletion, 10-yard pass, 6-yard run, 5-yard penalty on Eric Hallett for defensive holding. Kind of weak, but
Very
okay.
weak.
We'll let it slide. And then incompletion on the next play. Then a 6-yard pass, and then another incompletion. I'm like, okay, this is, we can stop these guys. Too many incompletions here by Matthew Stafford. Wide open misses. He looked totally off his game in that first half. It didn't look like he had a clue in the first half, and that's what we needed. And I said that. I'm like, man, if he's off his game today, that is our best DB, is Matthew Stafford having a bad day. Well, that didn't last long, but 6-yard pass, 2-yard run, incompletion, bang, 10-yard pass, 23-yard pass, 4-yard touchdown. But what I notice is it's not just pass, and then run on third down. They were mixing it up. They're trying to keep us guessing. What I didn't notice last night for the Lions is we weren't doing a whole lot out of shotgun, meaning running the football where we should have had our most, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote an article. I mean, the tape will show you they're terrible against shotgun run. We're great at with shotgun run. Why didn't we do it more often? Well, it should have been more to the outside, which I'll talk about that in a moment, how their edges are really good. And why running through the middle was just, I mean, you might as well slam your head against the wall. So then
I was slamming my head against the wall last night.
I was real animated last night.
I said in the beginning of this game to my buddies I'm watching the game with, we cannot run the ball up the middle or to the left. We can't run behind Cologne. We can't run behind Taylor Decker. If we do that all night like we did the game before, it's just not going to work. And what did we do? We kept running it up the middle, right behind the center, the left guard, and the left tackle all friggin' night, and it drove me nuts.
So what the NFL needs to do, or one of these, I think all channels need to do this. They need to install a timer clock from the minute that ball is snapped and until the second that ball is thrown. They need to install a timer clock that we can see. So it's a second clock. You put lower left or right screen. I don't care where it is. We need another clock. And that should be time to sack clock. Because no one believes me when I tell them we're not getting there in enough time or quick enough, right? And I keep trying to tell people, I don't care if you have 300 pressures, right? And you're God's gift to this green earth with pressures. If they're all after 3.5, 4 seconds, they don't mean shit. They don't. If they're under 2.5 seconds, you're affecting the quarterback. If it's over 2.5 seconds and under 2.75 seconds, you're slightly affecting the quarterback. If it goes over 2.75 and then well beyond 3 seconds, you're not affecting the quarterback at all, especially Matthew Stafford, who's getting the ball out pretty quick last night. Lions get the ball back in the second quarter, tied 7-7. We take a field goal after going 12 plays, 59 yards. That looked like this. Incompletion, 2-yard run, 25-yard pass, 4-yard run, 5-yard run, 10-yard run, 3-yard pass, 8-yard run, incompletion, 2-yard run, incompletion, field goal. 3 runs in a row. 4 yards with Montgomery, 5 yards with Montgomery, 10 yards with Montgomery. Okay, that worked a little bit, but where did they go? They went Montgomery off the left guard for 4, Montgomery off the right tackle for 5, and then Montgomery off the right tackle again for 10.
Exactly.
Right? Now, clearly going off the right side on the outside was the better play. We don't have any tight ends, but Dan Skipper was eligible on this play and obviously made some sort of a block. I assume he was on the right side. I don't have it in front of me. I should just have it playing this morning so I could break down some game tape a little bit, but it's the inefficiency at mixing up the runs that really bothered me last night, because then you go to a 3-yard pass that went for nothing on 3rd and 1. You get the 1st and 10 right after the 10-yard run, but on 1st and 10, it's a 3-yard pass, doesn't do anything. I can't stand the fact that we're throwing the ball 3 yards and there's no spacing. Guys aren't getting free. And then you have an 8-yard run right after that to Montgomery up the middle, which was surprising. And then you try to go short right again to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And then you go Montgomery off the right tackle, and it didn't work, went for 2 yards. And then you go incompletion again, short left to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Almost every ball seemed like it was headed to St. Brown's way. Why was TK85 not inserted into this game? If nobody can get free, why don't you put in the guy that seems to get free, that seems to make plays? I don't understand it. So
mind-boggling.
So 10-7 after the field goal. Then the Rams get the ball back. They go 6 plays, 69 yards in 3.5 minutes. And they score a touchdown. It's now 14-10. 19-yard run, 36-yard pass, 11-yard pass, incompletion, 2-yard run, 0-yard penalty on Alex Anzalone for defensive holding. And then offsetting penalties, which I felt was somewhat of a gimme. But they got a new set of downs there. What was it? Towards the end zone, right? They got a new set of downs?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of figures that they allowed the Rams to continue with that penalty. But yet, hardly anything called on the Rams. An offsetting penalty, great. Whatever. Didn't do much. So now it's 17-14. I'm sorry, 14-10 Rams. Lions get the ball back. We get a touchdown in 4 plays, 65 yards, 2 minutes, 19 seconds. We go up 17-14. 52-yard pass to St. Brown, a 3-yard run. Skipper reports eligible. Jahmyr Gibbs goes off the left tackle for 3 yards. And then Jahmyr Gibbs off the left guard for 2 yards. And then an 8-yard touchdown pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown. 17-14. Lions going into kick the ball. They kick the ball, and the Rams end up having to punt. We get the ball back. We get a touchdown. It's 24-14. And then the dumbest thing that I've ever seen happens. How does Kelvin Shepard not know that the most important thing to do under a minute in the end of any half is to protect the deep shots in the end zone? I said this last night. You cannot play this game like you have safeties and corners. DJ Reed was getting burned all afternoon, almost every single play. And yet you go single high, man on man, with 30 seconds left, and the Rams have the ball, and all they have to do is go 47 yards. Explain to me where any other smart defensive coordinator would have called that style of a defense and not gone to a zone defense, not put 6 safeties, go dime because you know they're passing the ball. And even if they run the ball, who cares? If you have 6 DBs in the game, you should be able to get somebody to the running back. It made 0 sense. They immediately go up over top of us. 10-yard pass, and then a 37-yard strike. Incompletion, field goal's good. That right there, you miss a field goal in the beginning, and then you give them 3 points at the end. That is a 6-point swing. Had you had that field goal and you prevent that field goal, it is now 27-14 going into the half. 27-14. Lions up by almost 2 full touchdowns. 2 scores for sure. Break down the first half for me. I mean, based on what I said, what is your thought process in the defense there at the end of the second quarter?
I thought we were fine until that drive. And going into the half up 10, it's almost shades of the NFC championship game. You come out, you're doing fantastic. And then the second half, you're just kind of resting on your laurels. You don't keep pushing. You take your friggin' foot off the gas. Oh, hard to talk about this one today. This is a crazy game. And when we get to talking about the ref stuff, I got a couple of very crazy stats about some of the reffing that has occurred versus the Lions this year. But yeah,
all right.
The first half, I thought the offense was fine in the first half. I don't know why Jake Bates is missing field goals. He is off this year. I don't know what's wrong with Mr. Bates this year, having all these field goals blocked and missing field goals and everything else. But I think that Dan Campbell is slowly starting to lose his faith in old Mr. Jake Bates.
I don't know, man. I think it was a high pressure situation last night, but I don't like. I mean, I don't like Jake Bates missing these easy, which should be layups, right? And it was a problem in this game. You have to be bigger in this game. You need to step up in this game, and obviously, I'm gonna light somebody up here in a minute because I feel like he didn't step up, and I feel like others needed to step up in this game, and they didn't step up either. In the third quarter, the Rams get the ball back. And see, that to me was probably the most critical part of this game is you know that they're getting the ball back in the second half, and you just shit the bed and allow them to get 3 points at the end of the second quarter. You don't play bend but don't break. You need to play to keep everything in front of you. You don't allow them to get over top. And if anyone's watching this game, they're wondering 2 things immediately. Why is DJ Reed on the ground more than he is running with the receivers? And why is he running behind the receivers on almost every play and playing catch up? Was he not playing off man enough? Because even if he was playing off man and getting burned, that's an even bigger problem. Look, Puka Nacua is an amazing receiver, but that should tell you going into this game that you have to take him out of the game. If we're able to take Justin Jefferson out of the game, how can you not handle Puka Nacua? That will never make any sense to me. And I get it. A lot of teams have had their struggles against Puka Nacua. And last night, we don't have any safeties, outside of these, fill-ins. But Avonte Maddox is a pretty damn good football player. You didn't set him up for success. Kelvin Shepard did not set his players up for success. He put him in a position to lose. You can't be running man-on-man and not mix up coverages enough to keep Matthew Stafford guessing. They didn't disguise enough. It was so easily read what they were doing. Rams get the ball back in the second half. They get another field goal. So you know what? It actually ended up better for us that our defense kind of made a stand, right? In that first possession back. They could have had a touchdown right there, and then they're on top. But we get the ball back, and we go three plays and out. 5 yards. We go 5-yard run, 10-yard run. But then it was called back because of offensive holding. Or I'm sorry, it was a Gibbs up the middle for 7 yards, and then it was called back for offensive holding. And then there was a 6-yard run by Gibbs off the right tackle. And then there was a 4-yard pass, short right or short left to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then we punt. I'm banging my head last night thinking, you need to get a first down. Why on third down are you throwing the ball short of the sticks? Why is any receiver even running a short route? Yeah, I get it. One should be. But where was Jahmyr Gibbs in the slot? Where were you going to use your speed? And how many times was David Montgomery going to miss a block last night in the backfield? Consistently missing blocks. The dude cannot block at all. So how are you going to help Jared Goff if you're not putting the right guys in a position to win? Your power back is missing blocks in the backfield. Then Jahmyr Gibbs is on the sideline instead of being a receiver last night. They just said, did they not, Eric, last week that Jahmyr Gibbs is getting better and better and better? He just went 7 for 77 in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
And you park the dude on the bench and you don't even use him in the slot? You going to tell me that Isaac Tislau was a better option than Jahmyr Gibbs? Come on. There ain't no way. Ain't no way.
Yeah, that one throw to Tesla last night too. He did. That was not a very good route ran by Mr. Tesla last night. Falling down to the ground, you're not going to catch many balls.
Okay. It's 24-27. The Rams get the ball after we punt. They go down and score a touchdown, 9 plays, 88 yards, 4 minutes, 13 seconds. You know, at least they weren't scoring in a hurry, but they were able to do what they wanted. We get the ball back. We go 3 plays, minus 12 yards, and have to punt the ball again. Incompletion again. This went deep to Jameson Williams, and that I believe that on this play, that was that super deep shot that, in my opinion,
so
you could have
close.
called the ticky-tacky pass interference as he kind of dove at his legs and it tripped up J-Mo as he went to dive for the ball. If that was the Chiefs, if that was Puka Nacua, the flag's probably coming out.
Oh yeah,
right, but not for us.
Nope.
And J-Mo, I mean, he got decked in the back of the end zone. And they didn't even throw a flag. It doesn't make any sense to me. And that's why I believe that the NFL's rigged. And they're rigged against the Lions for sure. But Jared Goff was sacked last night by Kobe Turner for minus 12 yards. Kobe Turner was the guy that I wanted the Lions to pick up a long time ago. I'll never stop talking about it because when I watched his film, he was a fifth round graded guy. And I said, there's no way this guy's a 5th round graded guy. Someone's got to get him, and they got to get him early. Well, the Rams saw it, and they went after him. Then he takes a sack last night he took the sack for minus 12 yards after the incompletion to Jameson Williams. And then he goes incomplete to Gibbs. Short middle to Gibbs. One of the few pass plays we've seen to Gibbs last night. And then we pass. Just nothing going here. It's 2nd and 10. At the 22, and it just seemed like we kind of gave up. Like, you're backed up a little bit. I get it. It's 3rd and 22 at the 10. Why are you throwing a short pass when you need to go downfield? Look, it would have been, correct me if I'm wrong here, Eric, but wouldn't it have been better for us to just throw another deep shot and hope and pray that you complete it versus throwing something short that you're then going to try to go another 19 yards with on yak? You're expecting 19 yards of yak as opposed to throwing the ball 25 yards downfield?
Yeah, relying on the dink and dunk stuff it's only going to take you so far.
But you get what I'm saying, right? They're trying to survive on yak yardage.
Exactly. Yeah, you have to hit those deep shots like the 2 to J-Mo last night. There was one across the middle of the field where he almost caught it on the top of his helmet, and then the other one in the end zone. You have to take those shots. Mm-hmm. And whether we get a pass interference penalty or not, whether we complete the pass or not, you still have to try those. So I liked seeing that we were trying them. It's just we didn't get the calls in our way. We didn't get the calls in our favor, which is inexplicable. How the Lions never get a pass interference call, and they finally got one in the second half on one that was more ticky-tacky than anything. I mean, that one was pretty weak, the one that we did get, where the other two should have been called and were never called. You know, there could have been one called on that Isaac Tesla play, and there was nothing called. You know, tackling our receiver before the ball even gets there. He's laying on the ground when the ball sails over his head, you know. So I'm never going to understand these refs ever in my life. I don't know how this works.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I really don't. I don't understand the play calling, but here's something I have to address in the chat. The constant mentioning of John Morton. What I don't get what John Morton has to do with this. He's not the offensive coordinator. He is by title. He's not calling the plays last night. So what does Johnny Moe have to do with this? He has nothing really to do with anything.
Yeah. I think one of my biggest gripes from last night, same thing with the Packers game, is that we don't play with any urgency in the second half. It's always huddle up, take your time, go to the line, see what's going on. There's no hurry up. There's no playing fast with your hair on fire, keeping the defense on their heels. We just don't do it in the second half. And I don't know if it's because Dan took over the play calling. I don't know what it is, but you know what? The Lions went 5-3 with Johnny Morton. And you want to know what they are with Dan Campbell? They're 3-3. They've went loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss.
So we did do a little tempo last night, and I want to say it came in the fourth quarter.
We didn't do enough.
Second possession, maybe. We might have done it in the first half, but I remember specifically talking about it. But hold on, I got to address this in the chat. So saying that we took Colby Sorsdahl over Puka Nacua. This type of, and I'm sorry, it's complete bullshit. And here's why. One, nobody knew who Puka Nacua was. Nobody.
All 31 teams except for the Rams.
Okay, number two, did we already have Amon-Ra St. Brown and J-Mo? Mm-hmm. So you're just going to grab another receiver that you don't have a clue on? That nobody knew who he was going to be? For what reason? We needed somebody. We needed an offensive lineman. Was Colby Sorsdahl maybe the wrong pick for offensive lineman? Probably. But then again, I think that fans fall into this death trap that they listen to the wrong people that really don't know football that say, oh, we should have took this guy. Play hindsight all you want. You are not going to do anything in life playing hindsight. Because I could probably walk around every single person and say, yesterday you should have done this. Yesterday you should have took that step. Yesterday, three weeks ago, you should have done this instead. Oh, you should have waited to buy this because it was cheaper on this day. Oh, you should have worn a black shirt, not a white shirt today because you spilled all down in front of your shirt. You see where I'm going? Play hindsight all you want. Nobody knew who Puka Nacua was. Number one, just like nobody knew who Amon-Ra St. Brown was. Brad found him later in the fourth round, didn't he? Pretty smart dude. I think if he knows who a player is going to be or has a good opportunity to be somebody, he's going to take him. But the Lions already fulfilled their bucket on taking high draft picks at that position and needed to fill offensive line. Had Colby Sorsdahl worked out, we wouldn't have this problem. Right? Our offensive line has got some issues. And again, that's not all on Brad Holmes. You have to put some accountability on the players. You have to put some accountability on the coaching. However, I will ever fail to recognize that Hank Fraley's the wrong coach. He's the best offensive line coach, if he's one of, if not the best in the league. So we can't play that game. I'm not even gonna entertain that game. Because I'll tell you right now, I could go through this roster and diagnose it, pick it apart, and say we could have taken this player instead of that player. The same thing was said on Broderick Martin or Hendon Hooker. The very few misses that Brad Holmes has had, at some point you have to realize that you can't just load up on one position. You can't. Where are they going to fit? How are they ever going to get the game? You have to field the team, not just one position. We just going to have a whole team of receivers? Doesn't work that way. So hindsight 2020 is a dangerous game. You can continue to play it if you want to, or you could look at the intelligence factor of this roster. We have issues with injuries. We have some issues with play calling. We have some issues with refs. The Lions have an extremely difficult schedule. It was never going to be 15-2 or 16-1 or 17-0 this year. It was never going to be that. Eric and I both took the under on 15-2 this year, and now we are both well below where we thought we would be. But you have to admit that there's some games that have not gone our way, mostly due to the refs, in at least two circumstances. One being the Chiefs, and then last night's Colby Parkinson touchdown was probably the most blatant thing I've ever seen. It's laughable. And it was so laughable that Tom Brady, and who's the other knucklehead that was calling the game last night?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. But they're both laughing. Both laughing. Because nobody knows what a touchdown is anymore.
No.
But they're just laughing because they know it's all fugazi. It's what it is.
I talked about it last week. How can you expand to NFL Europe when the everyday millions of American fans don't know what is and what is not a touchdown? And it's laughable to have all these fans on social media last night. Oh, that's a touchdown. Oh, that was a touchdown. Why isn't that a touchdown? He caught it and then he fumbled it and then he regained possession of it in the end zone. No. If he caught it, he's down with his knees at the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
But then he loses control of the ball and the ball hits the ground. That is an incomplete pass. And I don't care what anyone says, that is wrong. And for the normal everyday fan like me to not know what is a touchdown, what is a catch, what's not a catch, it makes no sense. When if I was to put 100,000 Lions fans and 100,000 Packer fans in two different bars and they both watch the same play, but let's switch the teams. Let's say this was two teams that don't matter. This was the Dolphins and the Titans. Okay. And they watch that play. 100,000 Packer fans and 100,000 Lions fans are all going to say that was not a catch. That was not a touchdown. And if it is a catch, then it's down at the 1. And they're all wrong. You're telling every person across America and every person watching from everywhere in the world that they are wrong. It makes no sense whatsoever. This is a problem. This is getting to be a very big problem. And you're going to start losing fans. You're going to start losing people watching the NFL because of this.
I agree, man. Again,
because you can't understand it.
Well, I think we understand what's going on.
Well, we do.
We understand
we're not dumb,
but we're not stupid. And last night, to your point, I mean, I was live when this happened, and I said, there's no way that was a catch. And I said this to you before we started today. And I said this last night too. How can the refs in the NFL really control the game? And I said, there's really not, you're not going to get all 32 teams times, 25 starters, whatever it is. You're not going to get all of them to buy in on, you're not going to get them to buy in on cheating, right? You're not going to get them to buy in on rigging. You can't do WWE with 5,000 football players, whatever the number is. I forget how many starters there are, but you're not going to get that many people to buy in because a lot of these guys, they have some gumption about them, right? They care. They're not cheaters. They want to play the game. So let's remove the element of the player. How can the NFL effectively rig a game? Well, there's two ways. I think it's the refs and it's the refs. But more importantly, it's the rule book. Think about this for a moment. If I call a touchdown on the field, well, now the rule book says I have to have undisputable evidence to overturn that call. Well, there's not a camera pointing up from the grass where you can see underneath, but there's another 50 cameras around that place, and someone in that building's got a good shot of it. Well, if you had called that a catch down at the 1, that would have probably stood. But do you think that the Rams, Sean McVay, would have thrown a flag and said, oh, no, that's a touchdown? Hell no, he wouldn't have. Why? Because there was not enough evidence to overturn a catch to a touchdown. Now, if they would have called that a catch at the 1 yard line or not a catch at the 1 yard line and they went to review it, then what?
It would have stood.
Would it probably have stood? Probably.
Yep.
So that's how the NFL is getting away with this, is they have made this rule book with a very small tweak, which seems innocent at the time. It's anything but innocent. They put those little seeds in there that they can then use and twist to make it be something that it wasn't. And even though we're looking at it, we're saying, oh my God, it's rigged. The NFL is cheating. And they are, allegedly. But they're doing it in front of your face because that's what the rule book has allowed them to do, that they've agreed on in the collective bargaining agreement. That's how they're getting away with it. Now, last night I posted on X, I said, quit watching because this game's done. I think it was like the second half. Game's over. The refs have the rest of the game. The only way that you're going to affect the NFL, guess what? It's not by not watching, honestly. It's by canceling ESPN. It's canceling Fox 1. It's canceling NFL.com. It's canceling NFL Pro. It's canceling the Red Zone. It's canceling the Sunday Ticket. That's how you affect them. It's canceling Peacock. It's canceling Hulu. It's canceling Prime, which I don't even know why we have Prime anymore because they don't deliver in 2 days. Hell, I'm lucky to get stuff in 2 weeks sometimes. That's how you affect the NFL's pocket. It's not by stopping to watch the games that are free on rabbit ears. It's the subscriptions. That's how you stop. And you stop the betting. That's how you beat the NFL. If even 10% of the NFL fans that have a majority of subscriptions and bet online were to stop for an entire season, that could be $1 billion.
Yeah.
That could be $1 billion of revenue, of ad revenue and other revenue that they're not seeing. And since we're on this subject, Eric, I have a big question. When we get back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right. Thank you guys for watching this morning. I appreciate each and every single one of you, but just do us a huge favor and likely, or please subscribe and like the video this morning or the live stream and share it with a friend. We talk a lot about football each and every day. We talk about the Lions. We talk about the NFL. We go around the league. But we talk about things that are real here. We say that this is the channel where the adults hang out because we're not just going to feed you fluff and bullshit. We're going to give you facts and stats and analytics in real good conversation that I think more people would resonate with if they heard and watched. So do us a favor and share it with somebody and say, you know what, you got to listen between this segment and this segment. Just listen for this 10 minutes. And then have them send in a comment and tell us what you think. Do us a favor after the show and send in your comments because the chat, even though it's great, you guys light it up every day. The comments are what matter the most. I don't care what you put in there. Anything. Just say hi. Drop an emoji. But do us a favor, like, share, and subscribe today. And join us for the rest of the season and, well, each and every season thereafter. Eric, here's my question.
Fire away.
Well, I would ask you, is the NFL rigged? I think I know the answer. Who owns the betting sites? Because not all of them are Native American owned.
Well, no. The companies that own them are big Las Vegas conglomerates.
But who's underneath them?
Yeah, but in Michigan, to be in Michigan, to be able to sports bet in Michigan, you have to go through an authorized tribe. So like DraftKings is through Bay Mills, Caesars is through the Hollywood Casino. Then you have MGM Grand has MGM, and all the casinos have a sporting.
So everyone's getting a bit
site.
and a cut and a piece, right? A little bit of the pie going out to everybody. My question is more so if 95% of the pie is going out to the known names, who's the 5% that we don't know about that is hid under this shell, that is slid and then hid under this shell, that is then transferred to the Caymans under this shell, and then 300 shell companies later? Who is it?
Roger Goodell.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Now, someone once told me about a year ago, someone that I trust within the NFL, used to be in the NFL, said that if we were able to follow the money, that you would be sick to your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
If we are actually able to follow the money, the little birdie told me that there's a group that bets on these games that nobody will ever know about, and they're making millions, if not billions, every season. And here's what it seems like to me, since I'll never really know the answer, and if I get close, I'll probably be disappeared. I think that they're betting against us. It's almost making too much sense. We're going to give you these stats. We've made these stat sites to sell you these stats. Excuse me for a moment. Oh, Aiden is the best defensive end. He has all these pressures. He should be able to win this game because we're missing a tackle and a guard. Well, let's bet Lions defense to do X, Y, and Z. We're going to put these prop bets against it. And on the backside, they're just laughing. Ha, 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 ha. Big fat guy laughing. Because they know that PFF was created by was heavily invested by Collinsworth, right? Yeah. He's a huge investor. I think he's a majority owner of PFF. Happens to be calling the games too. And a former player. You don't think that him and all of his cronies aren't on the backside doing something allegedly? Or know people that are doing something that isn't exactly on the up and up? All of those sites have been created to sell you fantasy. Fantasy is just a money printing machine. And betting is 1,000 times more than that. Somebody, a group of people, companies, 300 shell companies later, someone's making big money even though they're not the betting site owners. How do we get underneath it? Right? Well, I was also told that the only way that this is ever going to be investigated is if the government actually has to make some sort of referendum in a bill or a policy, something that can actually investigate them. There's something that is not allowing them to be investigated, and I don't know what it is yet. I'm not smart enough to figure that part of it out. I'm not even going to try. But someone said to me, the NFL won't be investigated until the government actually creates something to be able to do it. And I don't know if it's because it's tied to Native American betting, because it could be on Native American soil. And if it's on Native American soil, they are their own entity, right? Not even really part of America. You get where I'm going? Get where I'm going at, with this? There's layers upon layers upon layers. And I'm probably saying it all wrong because I didn't write it down. But it's close. Something stinks. Something really stinks. And it's smells like money. It's what it smells like.
Yeah, if you can smell that smell, it's coming from somewhere. When your dog takes a dump in the bedroom somewhere and you can smell it, it's there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
Yeah. Man, I don't have my watch on again. I had it on last night for a moment and watched it. Apparently I'm not charging my watch. It lasted for like days, and now it's not lasting at all, but my heart is probably just ticking 1,000,000 miles a minute right now. I'm pissed off about the whole thing, and I'm not necessarily mad at like the Lions players.
No.
Even though I'm critical of the fact that we needed Aiden to show up, and let's just be real. Everyone this morning is probably saying how great of a defensive end Aiden is because he got an interception to open up the game. What did he do afterwards?
He got a sack.
Okay. He got a
and
sack.
A bunch of pressures.
Well, okay. The pressures. That's
he was getting close a lot of times. I thought Hutch had a decent game.
No.
I myself, judging it from watching it, I thought Hutch had a pretty decent game. So I'll disagree with you on that one today.
But that's fine. You can disagree, but the film is going to show you a lot. And I'm doing the film today, by the way. It's going to show, and I'm actually going to do a video that I'm going to put on a different channel so people can actually see. Yeah. It's going to show something entirely different. You could cast the same blame across the entire defensive line. Okay, Davenport got close a few times. Alex Anzalone actually had that sack with Aiden, and so if they took the half away,
they erased it.
That's bullshit, right?
Yeah,
anytime there's two players sacking a quarterback, someone gets a half, and the other person gets a half. You don't just give it to Aiden. That's unfair to Anzo, but they do that for a reason. Why do you think they do it? Because I just said it. They're selling you stats on players for fantasy and bets and this and that. You paid the guy $188 million, even though he's not making it yet. I heard this argument today. Aleem McNeil is a top 5 defensive lineman, didn't show up, but we're complaining about Aiden Hutchinson. But Aleem McNeil didn't show up. Here's newsflash for you. Aiden Hutchinson got a huge signing bonus this year that was paid. I don't know, what was it, $30 million? Something like that. Yeah. He got that in a check, right? But his rookie deal, Aiden is making, I think, $16 million in cash this year. And Aleem is making, was it 20. 7? No, it's less.
Oh, yeah, but he's 20 a year.
Here you go. A 3rd round pick, which Aleem McNeil was in 2021, is making $16 million in cash. His cap hit is $6.1 million. Aiden is making $20.6 million in cash, $14.4 million in cap hit. So he's more than double of what Aleem McNeil is making. And he's also a 1st round, 2nd overall pick compared to a 3rd round pick. So
yeah, but Liam's on his 2nd contract, though.
Yeah, he is on his 2nd contract, and he's still making less than a rookie this year. He's also an interior defensive lineman. Like, these guys are not meant to just get sacks. It's not their job. I mean, it is their job, but it's really not their job. Their job is to stop the run. Nobody really stopped the run last night. I would blame that on the scheme. I think that the number one thing that we didn't do, which is what I was begging for last week, was just switch the spy from the quarterback, because we don't worry about Matthew Stafford running, to the running back. Jack, you're just responsible for the running back, man. Just go where they go.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other guys, you need to take the tight ends, and then they need to be handed off. Hopefully we would stay in some sort of a man under zone scheme. Didn't do it. And that crushed us. It absolutely crushed us. So is Lee McNeil, is he the reason why we lost last night?
He didn't have a great game.
Okay, someone in the chat says Lee McNeil hasn't done squat since he signed his big deal. He got injured right away.
Yeah.
He's only been back, 7-8 games now?
Yeah, this is like game 7.
Okay. I mean,
I
he
was
literally got injured right away.
Less than him. He's fine. I didn't care for the runs up the middle right past him. That really pissed me off last night. Him and DJ Reader just weren't stopping crap. And who did I say was my most important person on defense last night? Tyreek Williams.
Yeah.
Dead silent in that run game because Kyron Williams was running right up the gut. I don't know if Tyreek was in on those plays or not. I haven't looked, but the interior defensive line did not do squat against the Rams running right up the middle, right up the gut, especially in the fourth quarter. We couldn't stop them. If we could have made one more third down stop in that fourth quarter, we might have had enough time to go down and score and tie up the game, but we ran out of time last night. To me, the you know who disappeared last night? AQM. I didn't hear his name one time last night. And I don't care about sacks. I'm talking tackles and, just being disruptive. I didn't see much out of him at all. So was he getting doubled? Was Hutch getting doubled? I just have to go back and watch it again, but I don't want to watch this game again.
Well, I'm definitely going to be watching it again all day, and I just started running it right now so we can talk about some of that. So
I hate this game.
Here's a snapshot for you. If we want to look at the box score for just a moment, Marcus Davenport had two total tackles last night, one quarterback hit. Roy Lopez had huge game last night with disruption at times. But he only had one tackle, right? One sack, one TFL, 2 quarterback hits. Al-Qudim Muhammad, 1 total tackle, 2 quarterback hits.
That's it.
Right? Aiden Hutchinson, 3 tackles, 1 sack, half a sack, 1 pass defensed, and 3 quarterback hits. So everyone's saying that Aiden had a huge game. Take away the
interception for 50-something yards.
Take away the gift-wrapped interception because that did
it
did nothing.
No,
we got 0 points on it.
No gift wrap.
No, we got points on it. Just take that away completely. Take
we
it away.
7.
Okay? Take that
away.
Take
that away, we lose by 14.
Nope, just take away the fact that he got an interception. Don't take away the points. Just take away the interception. He had 3.
Then we lose by 14.
That's not what I'm saying. Just take away the interception out of his stat line. Okay? Because that did nothing, honestly. The rest of the game, he had 3 quarterback hits. That's a huge game. And remember what a quarterback hit is.
It's totality of what
you can
did.
You can throw the football, get touched, fall down. That's a quarterback hit. You could have no bearing on the fact that pass was completed for big chunk plays, but you got a quarterback hit. He had a half a sack, not a whole sack, because Anzo was right there with him. But everyone's saying that he had this huge game when Al-Qudim Muhammad and Roy Lopez each had 1 less quarterback hit.
If that play would have happened with 30 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter,
that's the difference.
It would have it changed your mind just because it happened in a different space in the game. Mm-hmm. It's still a great play.
Yes, it was a great play, and I'm not excusing that. I'm not taking that away from him.
But you are.
That was an error on Stafford, right? That wasn't Aiden doing play. It wasn't Aiden doing anything other than he got past the tight end because the tight end let him go, and then the tight end turned to catch the ball, and Stafford threw it right into his breadbasket.
Out of all of the defensive ends in the league, he's probably one of only 4 or 5 that actually make that play.
catch
How
the
many
ball?
defensive ends got a interception this year?
Not
very many.
Not many, because they usually don't get gift wrapped at interceptions like that.
Come on. Give him credit.
No.
Just
No.
bow down and say, hey, he did something good.
Okay,
this was
he caught
a
the ball.
shit game.
Good
and
job.
The
He caught the ball.
defense sucked.
Good job. He caught the ball. It's his fucking job.
Give him his flowers one time. Come on,
no
man.
flowers. You know why? Because he didn't do shit the rest of the game. That's why.
I'm giving him his flowers.
Okay. Here's what I'm watching. I'm watching AQM.
And I'm not a U of M lackey either.
No, here's what I'm watching. I'm watching AQM completely manhandle the offensive line right now. Manhandle. And so here's what I did. I put pressure. And then I'm going to go quick pressure under 2.5 seconds. Guess how many results I have? 0. 0 results. Not one pressure under 2.5 seconds. Okay, time to throw over 2.5 seconds for Aiden Hutchinson. 0. 0 results. So when I whittle this down, I'll take that out now. Then I'll go just straight pressure. 9 plays matching the criteria last night. 9 plays with Aiden Hutchinson on the field. 9 plays. Here's the first play. Aiden's on the far left. It is first quarter, 5:39, 3rd and 4. And he does nothing. The pressure came from the other side. The pressure was AQM, completely bull rushing the left tackle. Here, I'll break it down. Bull rush. AQM almost gets him, and who does get him? Who was that?
Roy Lopez?
Nope, it's 99 and 90. I think it's 98. Hold on. I can't see. No, it's AQM and Tyrus Wheat. So it's Tyrus Wheat on the outside who completely bull rushes, and then AQM gets to Stafford, hits him before the ball comes out. The ball comes out, incomplete pass. That's why that pass was incomplete, because he was hit. So that's an AQM quarterback hit and pressure. And that was definitely under 2.5 seconds.
I'll say this about Hutch, man. There's been a lot of games recently where I've been very disappointed. This game, I wasn't disappointed in Hutch.
Okay, second play, second quarter, 1st and 10, 4:46 left in the game, or 4:46 at this time. Here's what happens. Aiden's on the right side. He does a spin move. Nothing happened. But on the other side, you have Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport takes on a double team. Roy Lopez gets back, and he touches Stafford. Stafford goes to the ground. So Davenport is double teamed. Aiden singled, then chipped. And before Aiden could even get off the chip, Roy Lopez is already in Matthew Stafford's pocket. Third play. Aiden's up on the upper left. Second quarter, 4:01, 3rd and 5. We got Barnes on the right side. You got Jack Campbell in the middle. Anzo next to Aiden. Aiden singled up. Spin move. And then he gets to that's a sack. Anzo was actually there before Aiden. So I don't get it. I don't get how he gets the sack. Aiden chased him. Anzo's the one that threw him down. Fourth play. Third quarter, 13:42, 2nd and 6. Aiden, upper left side. He is unblocked. He gets a quarterback hit. The play was complete to Colby Parkinson. He was unblocked. He gets a free rush at Stafford. Stafford gets rid of the ball. Aiden pushes him to the ground. First down. Quarterback hit for a first down. Fifth play. Aiden is on the upper left. Barnes again on the lower right. We've got the A and B gap on the left side of the defense completely wide open. I don't understand this. Overload. It's a right side overload. Ball is fumbled on the snap. I don't even know how Aiden's getting a pressure on this. He was 12 yards away from Stafford. The player that got in on this play was AQM with a quarterback hit. Ball was fumbled on the snap. 6th play. And this is 3rd quarter, 6:33, 2nd and 10. Aiden upper left, AQM bottom right, 4-man front. Rushing 4. Aiden is singled up. Aiden is manhandled. How does he get a pressure on this? He got a pressure because why? Because he got within 1 yard, but he bull rushed. AQM touched Stafford before Hutch even got there. So again, the film don't lie. Who lies is PFF.
Oh God, PFF's horrible.
Who lies are the people that watch this and say, "Oh, I think he really affected the game." And I'm not calling you out or anything. I'm just saying I really think he affected the game because why? How? Show me. On the 7th play, again, he's been singled up on almost every single play but one so far.
I think a lot of that's AI though, because they have sensors in their pads that tell them when a player gets within a yard of the quarterback. So it's not someone watching tape. It's what an AI computer is telling them happened.
Yeah, they've had these chips in their shoulder pads now for almost a decade or maybe a little bit longer. And that's what it does. It is a proximity sensor. And on this play, again, AQM gets to Stafford under 2.5 seconds. And Aiden goes all, the Aiden circle. He goes all the way around. And I don't get, I think that Jack missed an opportunity here. Jack had a free fire at Stafford. I don't know why he didn't take it. This is 6:01 in the 3rd. Oh. But again, AQM is getting there on almost every play that on these plays that I've dialed up here, which again, on NFL Pro, you just go in and you select Aiden Hutchinson and you select pressure and 9 plays pop up. Okay, so this one is 4:37. 4:37 in the 3rd quarter. It's 3rd and 3. Aiden is on the upper left. AQM is on the bottom right. We do a 4-man rush, a little twist. And AQM gets there before Aiden, and they run into each other. Ball complete. And then this last one is 4th quarter, 7:47. Aiden upper right, Barnes bottom left. Aiden is singled up, and then he's chipped. He maybe got within 4 yards of Stafford. So you just have to wait and see when the film comes out. I'm going to break it down later because I need to put this to bed because I'm sick of seeing, all of this Aiden is so great stuff. And I hate talking about it. But the reason why I have to talk about it is because this is what I get in my comments. This is what I get in my mailbag. This is what I get everywhere. And it's not Aiden hate. It's like, how can we continue to lie to ourselves? We need better play from everybody, not just him, but everybody. Your DBs last night played like trash.
Yeah, I'll tell you the one player I think should have stepped up the last couple of games and has not is DJ Reed. He has been an absolute failure in the secondary the last 2 games.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't either. He was great for the Jets. He comes here and hurts himself. He was playing good before he got hurt. But you know what? He had more help. He had Terrion Arnold.
Yes.
He had Brian Branch. He had Kirby Joseph out there with him. So that makes all the difference in the world when you're asked to do everything. I get that. But when players need to step up, when it's nut cutting time and you have to have a game, you can't let Puka Nacua run all over the field for everything. When you're asked to cover some guy in man coverage, you got to cover him. That's it. So the player I'm upset with today is probably DJ Reed. That's the one player that let me down the most yesterday. Not Hutch, not AQM, not Aleem McNeil. Those guys all did their job yesterday, as far as I'm concerned. The player that did not do their job yesterday was not Eric Hallett, was not anybody else back there. It was DJ Reed. And then to be on the next person down is probably Amik Robertson. And he's one of my favorite guys back there, but he had a crap game yesterday. He did not do very well either. Our secondary has went. It's mostly due to injury because you're missing 4 of your best players. It just, I don't know how we overcome Kirby, BB, Terrion Arnold. I don't know how you overcome that in a secondary. You can't. When 3 of your day one starters and 2 of the best safeties in the league. We had the best safety tandem in the league last year, and now we have neither of them, and we have no one backing them up now. Maddox did an honorable job last week, but this week was kind of silent.
Yeah, and again, I'm looking at on the majority of these plays, it's like it's single man.
Yes.
I'm sorry, single high man. And you can't see. I'm not going to blame Maddox when I feel like you're putting him in a position to lose.
Yeah, he was the whole secondary was put in a position to fail last night. All of them. It was horrible. How you don't have someone on the line jamming Puka. I don't care if for this first 5 yards, all I want you to do is jam that dude every single play. You don't have to cover him farther than 5 yards. Let him go after 5 yards. I don't give a darn. But you jam him as much as you can that first 5 yards. Push him backwards if you have to. Get him off his game.
It's been a common theme for me that you need to jam. I've been saying it against all of the high profile receivers. We need to utilize the jam more often, and we don't. And I don't get it. All right, so the last thing I'm going to say on Aiden this morning is this. 2 things. Ali McNeil.
He had a good game.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I've seen this, right? Well, okay, in the chat, Ali McNeil gets paid and he's not accounted for because he's not accountable. Only he can come back from a major injury and he's not accountable. He is accountable. He should be accountable for his actions, right? Ali McNeil was injured late last season. Was that week 14 Bills game? And he just got back about 8 games ago. He has not had an amazing season as far as stats, but I think that you would be wrong to apply any stat lines toward a defensive tackle. Go look at the defensive tackles in the league. Go look at the top 10 and tell me where all their stats are for the last 7-8 games and compare it to Aleem. Matter of fact, here, I'll do it for you. I'll add it to my list today. Aleem McNeil comparison. I think that Aiden is the only reason why I'm a little hotter on Aiden is because he's no longer injured. Has not been injured since he got that contract. Brad Holmes does not pay $181 million to somebody that is still injured. Because if he did, well, then we got a much bigger problem. So that's why Aiden gets a little bit more heat. He's making twice as much as what Aleem McNeil is. Twice. 98 million, 181 million. Aiden was a 2nd overall. Aleem was a 3rd round pick. Big difference. Different position. Defensive tackle supposed to stop the run, put pressure on the quarterback. Calvin Shepard has not put these guys in a position to win yesterday. But your defensive ends had a clear job to do, according to the scheme that I'm watching. And the only one that continually got close and almost there was AQM. On the sack, again, I'm looking at it. Matthew Stafford is not down. Aiden dove at his ankles. Enzo has his entire upper body. I'll show you. Man, my picture keeps getting darker. Here, I'll show you real quick. You can go rewatch it for yourself 1,000,000 times.
You know what I don't like, Will?
What?
I don't like that Lions fans are eating themselves alive.
Yeah, we are.
They're all arguing with each other. They're all hating each other. They're all
There's
mad
no
at each
reason for
other.
that. I mean, we just got to have, we just got to have an
just
honest
sucks.
conversation.
Oh, no. I don't mean just here. I mean everywhere. You know, you can't have any opinion and everyone wants to slay your opinion. It just sucks.
I just only deal in fact, though.
Yeah, but everybody can have a different opinion. I think Hutch had a
1,000%.
decent game yesterday. You don't think he did at all. That's fine. You know,
You'd have to define
have to-
decent. You know, if you're going to go by the stats, no. I think that's what I said last night. I think everyone's going to look at that interception and say that Aiden had this amazing game and he's now the best defensive end in the league again because the PR team finds some stupid stat that says he's the only player to have 5 interceptions and yada yada yada.
Oh, I'll have to look at that. Let's see.
All right. Okay, so look at the picture here. Aiden is on his ankles. Enzo is on the upper half of his body. Is Matthew Stafford on the ground yet? No, he's not. He's not on the ground. So whose sack is that? Because he's not getting past Enzo. But he's about to go down after Enzo throws him to the ground. There you go. Finishes the play. So that is a split sack. The fact that they gave it all to Aiden is not correct.
But Will, I don't have control over who gets the sack and who doesn't.
Oh, I get that. I get that, but I'm just saying that's why I do this.
All I can tell you is Hutch had a good game yesterday. That's all I can tell you.
I just showed the image, and you can see, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to people in the chat. I just showed the image. Aiden wasn't really there first. It was at the same time. And I'm sorry, if we are really going to split hairs on 1/100ths of seconds, then Aiden probably got there first at the ankles. But Stafford was not on the ground. And by definition, a combo sack is when 2 players get to that quarterback and are in on the sack. I've seen worse combo sacks. Way worse combo sacks where, let's say, I know I've seen this. Aiden goes in, makes the first contact. The player does not go down and then goes down and they give 8.5. I've seen it for other players in the league. That shouldn't have been a combo sack. If the player didn't go down, the next person cleans it up. That's their sack. But what they do is they combo it because the first player started it. The second player finished it. It's rare to ever have a combo sack be a true combo sack where they're there at the same time. That's rare. It doesn't happen all the time. But it's splitting hairs, right? It's splitting hairs. And I've given Aiden tons of credit throughout my history. Tons of credit. But I'm sorry, if you go and watch the film, which I just showed you, and I just went through 9 plays, and you can watch it. So if you think I'm BSing you, you can watch it for yourself. I just said what happened on those pressure plays. And none of it was a pressure. None of it. So the stats are fictitious. They're fake. I will watch the film and I will decide what happens by the film, not by a stat sheet. I will never decide what happens by a stat sheet. That would just be wrong by me. Wouldn't do it. Here's another one. So I guess because the stat sheet says that this is a touchdown, must be a touchdown. Right?
That touchdown, that ranks right up there with the picked up penalty against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. That ranks right up there with the Calvin Johnson process of the catch. It ranks right up there with all of them. With the Goff in motion, with the Dan Skipper reported, it ranks right up there with all of them.
Yeah. again, if we're going to go by stat sheets, this is, I don't have phone lines open. I don't know who's calling, but just let me know in the chat who's calling. I don't have the phone lines open just yet. If we go by stat sheets, this is a touchdown. He looks pretty down to me. Oops. Looks pretty down to me. And matter of fact, yeah, you really can't see the football in from this version. Sorry, this is a bad way to do this. Here, let me do it this way. I'm gonna have to fix it again. Trying to keep it up off of that rise and grind. Let me get rid of that logo. Okay. Here we go.
And that stat you were looking for from Lions PR?
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson is now the NFL's only defensive lineman to produce 5 interceptions through 4 career seasons in the Super Bowl era.
Yeah. All right. So, again, if we go by stats, this was a touchdown. Man, this is just terrible. It is not. Here, let me get rid of this. It's just not. They're cutting it off at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing it on purpose.
Knees down.
And then did you see the NFL post it last night? The NFL said, oh, wow, Colby Parkinson and Matthew Stafford touchdown or something like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, look, both his knees are down. He is nowhere near the end zone.
Did you notice how many friggin' ginormous 6'7" large tight ends that the Rams had?
Yeah, they got some big.
Every
boys.
one of their tight ends looks like Sam Laporta out there catching everything thrown their way.
Yeah, this is just a bad view. It's off ESPN. It's just a bad view. Okay, since we're talking about interceptions, let's do this. Let's see. When was that play? Here you go. All right. Let me go to the end zone look.
Robbie says, Will, I shared the full clip in BZ perfect angle. I don't know what BZ
what?
is. Of that play, apparently, of that touchdown.
Oh, of the one that I was just trying to. I don't know if I can get that clip out of there or not.
Oh, if it was text to you or something.
Yeah. Best way to do it is just email me like anything that you want me to show. If I can show it. A lot of stuff I can't show. Like this, I'm not even supposed to be doing. But I'm not trying to show the video. All right, so here's what you see right now. And you're not going to be able to see my cursor, but 84 right there for the Rams. That is Colby Parkinson. So he's going out and he's going to get a single block on Aiden. Okay, and then he's going to release from Aiden. Right? See how Aiden gets past him? You think that Aiden gets past him? No. Stafford's looking downfield, so he's selling you with his eyes. Remember me talking about him selling you with his eyes? That's what he does. Let me tighten this up a little bit more because I know we're not going to have to go past that side of the field. Okay, so Colby releases, and you can already see his face mask. You can see the corner of his eyes are looking back at Stafford. Because why? Because Colby's going to turn for the pass. You see how Colby just turned? That ball's already out. So Stafford's looking downfield. Colby goes in and seals Aiden, but he goes past Aiden because this is a tight end screen. Now, this ball is supposed to be floated to the right side on a tight end screen, and instead it goes right to Aiden's hands. Well, where's Aiden on this play? Okay, so Aiden's all by himself. That ball's in the air. I can't even see where the ball is right now. I think it's right in front of, right here, right in front of Lee McNeil. In number 69. I think that's about where the ball is trajectory-wise. So it's right in front of Aiden. Here, screw it. We'll just play it. Gift wrapped. That play was supposed to go to Parkinson. Tight end screen. It was a great play by Aiden. Yes, but it was a gift wrap.
That was off to his right. Look at that. He had to bend over backwards to get that pass.
He's not backwards, Eric. Look.
Yeah, his back is to us. He was facing us. He had to turn all the way around. Look at, see?
He didn't turn. He jumped.
He had to turn to get that. Look at that thing. That was going to his right. I'm telling you, 99 out of 100 edge rushers don't catch that pass. He does. It's them long arms reaching out and grabbing that thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Those big T-Rex arms, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were long enough.
Oh,
we got the job done.
Yeah, so look, John Desage, it doesn't make me look bad, bro. I speak truth, man. I speak truth. Okay? I speak truth.
The
facts are the facts.
We're allowed to agree to disagree. That you know, as long as we keep it lighthearted and nobody's being mean, I'm happy, man. Yeah.
Well, what's hard to swallow?
Yeah.
Well, what's hard to swallow? Look, I'll go film for film on anybody. The fact is, John, you've never, ever accepted the truth. I could show you film. And look, I've given film to members and mods and everybody else. And I've said, look, Aiden got all these pressures, so to speak, in this game. Let's watch it all together. We watched all 69 snaps. And they said he was doubled up the entire game. He was doubled, I think, once and chipped maybe a few times. It was so the furthest thing from the truth. He's one-on-one a large amount of times. That was a gift wrap ball. That was a one-on-one on a tight end. The tight end releases. They let Aiden come through. You see that what teams are doing is they recognize that Aiden is going to get too deep and he's going to go outside too far. You can watch 90% of his plays and he makes this big wide arc that leaves the D gap open. It's what he does. So they're going to use that aggressiveness against him. Let him come in. They've done it on a few plays.
He didn't go too wide on that interception.
No, but he had a free run. So they're baiting him to come in, right? Why? To pull him away from the tight end. If Stafford,
but you can do that because you know that the running back has already crashed down, and you know that Matt Stafford's not going to run around you.
If Stafford does, like Stafford had no business throwing that ball. Why? Because Aiden is one. There's nobody near him. There's zero pressure. Aiden is.
Well, he should have floated it over his head.
6 yards away. Well, so what Colby's supposed to do? Okay, so you have I don't know who's 71 for the Rams. Is that hold on. It's McClendon.
Having a Hutch intervention.
No. So you got McClendon, right? And then you've got Anzo, and then you've got Parkinson, and then you got Hutch over here. What Parkinson is supposed to do is he releases, and then he's supposed to curl back to the inside of Aiden, curl back to the inside, and catch that tight end screen. Why? Because they have 69 ceiling this way, 71 ceiling this way, and then you have another offensive guard, I think, who's getting up to the second level. He's going to go seal off Rock Ya-Sin. And then you have Puka Nacua, who's running a crosser, and he's going to go seal off Jack Campbell. And then the only player you have to beat out there is going to be Avonte Maddox. That's how that play is designed. Colby's supposed to cut in. He didn't cut in. And Stafford had no business throwing that ball. He wasn't open. And he didn't cut in yet. He had no business throwing that ball.
So I will admit to you something, Will, that Hutch is not a premier pass rusher this year. He is not up to par with
Parsons or Garrett or anybody else.
Miles Garrett or any of those guys, but he did have a good game yesterday. So I'll give him that. Okay.
He had one good play.
He had a better game yesterday than he's had in his last whatever. I think that was his best game of the year yesterday.
Oh my God. I'm going to have a coronary.
You don't think that was his best game of the year?
Oh my God, dude. Did I not?
What was his best game of the year?
Did I not just go through all of the film and explain that supposedly he had 9 pressures and he didn't get pressure on one of them? The only pressure he had was on the sack.
Come on.
I just went through the film. And I'm not I wouldn't lie. I wouldn't say what I'm seeing when it's there for everybody to watch. It's not like I want the dude to fail. I want him to win. We need him to win. This was the game that I wanted Aiden to have a big game. Like I said last night, the interception was great. What did you do after that?
Yeah.
Okay, it's after that. It is the fourth quarter. What did you do in the fourth quarter?
But listen, I'm not disappointed in the way Hutch played. I'm disappointed in the way DJ Reed and Amik Robertson played yesterday.
Yes, I
more than anything. And that's the only 2 players that I'm really disappointed in. And other than that, I'm disappointed in the coaching staff. I think Kelvin Shepard called his worst game of the year yesterday. His worst.
DJ Reed?
I think Dan Campbell was fine. We scored 34 points. There's no reason we should have lost that game.
I need to fix my video. Let's talk about the secondary when I get back.
Okay.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
Hopefully that's better. That's a little better. There we go. A little bit more light. All right. So I guess my first question, Eric. I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
There we can see you again.
Yeah. Were you saying? I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? What were you saying?
No, I that was it.
Okay.
Just we can see you again. You're not in the dark so much.
Okay. So are we missing Terry and Arnold yet?
I am. Dude, he was coming on. He was one of the highest rated cornerbacks in the league and goes back out again. He's been dealing with nothing but injuries since training camp. Just injury after injury. He had a hamstring and then got the shoulder, and then he came back from the shoulder and then went back out again. He had successful surgery the other day, and he's been posting pictures of him post-surgery. It's looking pretty good. He's just going to have a rough go of it because I'm pretty sure he had the exact same surgery I had. So he's looking at least 6 months before he can put shoulder pads on.
I don't even know what his full injury was with the shoulder.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he tore his labrum. Because
yeah,
I mean, there's
labrums everywhere though. So I mean, was it AC joint? Was it separated shoulder? Was it a rotator cuff?
I'm not sure, but it had to have been in the front, just like mine, because his 3 scars are exactly like the ones I just got.
Yeah, that's the way that they enter the shoulder though through the arthroscopic surgery.
Yeah, but it's way in the front. It wasn't up on the top. It's way in the front. Because he showed his stitches and stuff off yesterday. But it seems like he's all smiles. He's all good, doing good with that. But yeah, him and Brian Branch and Kirby, this Kirby thing is infuriating.
Yeah.
You pay the dude all that money and he can't even play. And to me, that is probably more than anything, having Kirby not be out there is probably one of the biggest disappointments of this entire season. Having our secondary healthy coming into this season, I mean, look what we did for the first 8 weeks. The first 8 weeks, we had a top 5 defense. And now we were 18th before yesterday's game, and now we're going to be even lower. Because we gave up almost 500 yards and 41 points yesterday. Totally unacceptable. unacceptable by our defense all the way around.
You know, the thing about our team, and I think what our fans, myself, I think what we get lost in, I mean, I'm pretty rooted in realism, but I think what we get lost in is, tell me how many teams can suffer this many injuries and still continue to put themselves in a position, in a position to win, position to make the playoffs, still scoring a lot of points. And even when our offense is not even clicking, we're put up 34 points against one of the best defenses in the league. And what's crazy is yesterday's game was, well, the Lions are not a playoff team unless they can beat the Rams. What I saw is a team that can beat the Rams. What I saw was a team that can beat any team in the league. You need the ball to bounce your way a couple of times. You need the refs to stay the hell out of the game, or at least call it both ways. But what I see is a team that has suffered so much, and you still have enough players. So when we see the comments like, well, Brad Holmes failed. Well, did he? Because tell me another team that can be down 12, even 6, even 4 starters and still go in and win games the way that the Lions have. Still go in and do what they did last year on the backs of their backups. Like, it's unheard of.
San Fran's the closest thing to it.
It's laughable to me that fans think that Brad Holmes has done a bad job when you're still winning with reserve after reserve after reserve. And they just went and almost beat the Rams with no secondary, no safeties, I should say. Meek didn't look good. Rock Ya-Sin didn't look good. DJ Reed didn't look good. But you know what? They also have no safeties behind them helping them out. And if they didn't play big nickel or dime yesterday, I felt it was going to turn out that way, and it did. And we didn't. We played single man, and he got beat. I just...
Hey, Will?
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Sure. Definitely not bad drafting. Manu has a knee injury. How is that bad drafting? Manu is going to be an amazing backup. He is not your replacement at left tackle. I think what people need to understand about the draft is there are not starters in every round. There's not. If you've ever listened to Brad Holmes or any other GM, try listening to other GMs, which is what I do. Go listen to what they say about the draft. And what you're going to hear is I had 13 first-round grades. I had 16 first-round grades. I had 14 first-round grades. And then you have to look at where the Lions are picking. When you're picking at the end of the round, 25 or later, there's not much happening there. Right? If you really want me to go into a 2-hour show, which maybe I should, and we'll just do nothing but draft talk, and we'll look at all the other teams that picked 24 or later. How did those draft picks turn out? What are those teams doing with those draft picks today? And how many of their third-round draft picks are starting and elite football players? You can't blame a player that was brought in to be a development player like Giovanni Manu. You don't find 6'8", 355-pound men that run as fast as he does with 35-inch arms. Like, it's an extremely rare athlete. Extremely rare. If you haven't seen it before, when I do my draft work, I have a spreadsheet that is 26 pages long that has gone in and taken all of the measurements for every draft at every position for the last 3 seasons. And I have whittled it down from the most elite and rare sizes, speeds, athleticism, height, weight, all that stuff. APE score, which no one talks about but me, the APE index. And what you will see is a player with a 35-inch arm, even 34.5-inch arm, defensive end or left or right tackle. Those are in the top 5% at that position. It's rare. Manu is rare. He's raw, but he's also a rare specimen. So players like that you bring in to be a backup, not a replacement. And then you have to look at, why did we bring in Manu? Well, Taylor Decker still has multiple years on his contract. You're not looking to replace Decker right now. Well, then he suffers an injury, and so then Brad Holmes is then thrown under the bus. Why didn't we bring in a left tackle? Well, put on my hindsight glasses. Why didn't we bring in a left tackle? Brad, you failed us. Oh, you brought in Manu. Colby Sorsdahl. No, you've got your starter. And you have the starter on the other side. Those guys don't ever come out. Almost every team in the league, their starters don't come out unless what? They get injured. And how often do you see star players get injured on the offensive line and they can't finish the season? It's not as likely as you would think it is. So no, Manu is not a miss. Manu is a backup. And every third round pick is not a starter. Newsflash, 15% of all third round picks ever in the last 15 years have started in the NFL. 15%. And 3% of those 15% have become elite football players in the last 15 years. So again, tell me, how did Brad miss? Because if he did, he missed at an extremely low rate. If you want to know facts and stats and analytics and things that matter, it's here on Rockhound Detroit Lions. Because that's what I do. I'm going to come with facts, not what if, not hindsight, not, oh, woe is me, not Brad Holmes is trash. That's for the other knuckleheads that don't know fact stats or how to look it up. I'm sorry. I'm not calling you a knucklehead. It's for all the people out there that are saying Brad Holmes has missed. He hasn't missed anything. He built you a team that is one of the best teams in the league on offense, and before all the injuries was a top 5 defense. Exactly where I said that they were going to be at training camp. And the only thing that has derailed that is injuries. And then some scheme issues that I think that Kelvin Shepard got a little bit too stubborn with yesterday. I don't know, Eric, am I looking at it completely wrong? Did Brad Holmes miss on bringing in Giovanni Manu or anybody in the third round because they're not an immediate starter and they're not putting up 1,000 yards? Isaac Tesla doesn't have 15 touchdowns. Like what am I not seeing?
Well, let's talk about Isaac Tesla. He's got 4 touchdowns on the season. Compare him to other rookie wide receivers. How many touchdowns does Matthew Golden have for the Green Bay Packers? And he was taken in the first round. 0. So I'm going to say that he's just fine. He's getting worked into the offense. He's just not quite there yet. You could see it yesterday on a couple of his routes. He's close. He's just not there yet. And he shouldn't be depended on yet to be this. Everybody's acting like he's a first round receiver. He's not. This kid was a third rounder. Yes, it took a few other third rounders to get him because we traded up to get him. But if you just look at him as he's a third round receiver, he's fine. It's year 1. He's going to be fine. Manu, we knew Manu was going to be a project. We knew that from the very, very beginning. And Manu had a little bit of a setback this year. He was actually playing pretty decent and had an injury. Well, he started practicing last week with the trainer, and I think they're going to start his clock this week. So he has a chance to come back, but he was never asked to be the starter. Now, he did come in and start when Taylor Decker could not go.
Right, and then he suffered a knee injury in that game.
Yes, but you're asking too much of the guy already. as a fill-in, yes, fine. But as a starter, he's not quite there yet. He has the physical attributes to be the starter. He does. He's got it. But
hold on. Why did Brad bring him in? Right? He moved around, takes him in at the end of the third round, right? Well, why did Brad bring him in at the time that he brought him in? Was it to replace Taylor Decker already? Or I don't know if you were gone when I said what I said, but
he's just thinking of the future.
Well, it's a backup situation because we don't have anybody that size. Colby Sorsdahl was not working out. You had to find somebody that could replace him. And again, Colby Sorsdahl doesn't mean that it's a complete miss and Brad melted down. The other 85% of the picks are hits. If you're hitting 50% as a GM, that's pretty damn good. That's really damn good. And Brad's way above that.
Yeah.
But again, so Taylor Decker had 3 more years on his contract or two more years on his contract when we brought Manu in. And then we just signed him to another, I think, 2 or 3 year extension.
But he signed through 27.
Right. So when we brought Manu in, though, 2 seasons ago, he had at least 2 years left on his deal. You were not looking at bringing in Manu to have him start immediately. You were not even looking at him. Brad's foresight was, I've got 2 or 3 seasons to get this player ready before I even really need to make a decision on Taylor Decker. Well, they re-signed Taylor Decker, and then Taylor Decker gets injured. So then Manu has to go in way ahead of his time. He was simply brought in to be a backup and somebody that you could be utilizing in your jumbo formations. That is what Manu was brought in for. At some point, he could have been a starter. Or he could be a career backup, and there's nothing wrong with that. Most left tackles come where? First round. And how many first-round tackles came out of the last couple of drafts that are actually playing at a high level?
Probably not very many.
Not a ton, right? It's few and far between. I think that we get too granular with what Brad Holmes is doing. Like for someone saying that I lost credibility for protecting Brad Holmes, how? Make a real argument. Make a real argument. Give me facts, because that's a baseless argument. Number one. Number two. To say that if we had Parsons, we would have 2 more wins. 1, you don't know that. And 2, we would have just wasted our first-round pick next year, our first-round pick the year after that, and $200 million. Miss me with all the Parsons bullshit.
No.
Parsons is now done for the year, most likely.
Oh, he is. It's a blown ACL.
There you go.
And
so that's exactly what I warned everybody against when you go and sign expensive defensive ends is when they get injured. I don't care if you are in the playoffs now, and you got a shot at the playoffs. Now you don't have that player that got you there.
Well, not only that, you're not going to have him for most of next year.
Yep, he's done.
And when they signed him, what did everyone say? That this kid is like glass. His back is whatever.
Yeah,
he's not going to be able to.
He already had the back issue. You're right.
He already had the back issue. So now he's got a knee to go with it.
Yeah, he's done.
If I'm I'm not, but if I was a Packer fan, I would be so upset with the organization of what,
they just gave away all their future and all that money.
Yes, all these Packer fans were so happy when he got there. Oh, he helped them win against the Lions, and he did this, he did that. He's got 12 and a half sacks, and yay, and getting all this stuff done, right? And they're like, oh, this is the second coming of Trevor Lawrence, and this is going to be so awesome. Or not Trevor Lawrence, Taylor. And they're thinking this is going to be the be all end all. This is the guy that's going to help them get over the hump, and they're going to win the Super Bowl again. And they got Jordan Love, and this guy's going to cripple your freaking organization for the next 3 seasons. This is going to hurt them for a long time, because they're not going to be able to build around him or their team anymore, missing those valuable first round picks. Those are the guys that hit, and those are the guys that you have to get the pick right, and you have to have first rounders. You just have to have them to keep building your team and keep it cheap enough to keep going. And the Packers, they're going to be hurting as far as money goes and as far as first round picks go. If I was a Packer fan, which I'm not, I'm a Packer hater, I would be so pissed.
So let me expand on this for just a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Eric, here, let me give you a real world situation. Real facts, real world.
Yes.
Okay? The Packers. They traded Kenny Clark.
Yep.
2026 first round pick and a 2027 first round pick.
Yep.
And in response to that, they get Parsons, who then signs a $188 million contract. You just gave away your future for the next 2 seasons and $188 million of by the way, how much of that was guaranteed? Let's see.
Almost all of it.
Well, no, I mean, it was a lower amount. It was lower than Aiden, but $40.5 million per year, which is almost quarterback money. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it? How much was guaranteed?
Yep. John Desage says, yeah, the Pack went for it and it bit him in the ass.
120 million guaranteed at signing. See, that's the difference. Your GM, Brad Holmes, if you're a Lions fan, here's what he did with Aiden. He didn't sign him for 188 million. It was 181. He didn't give him 120 million fully guaranteed at signing. No, he gave him a little bit more in guarantee in chunks. I'm going to give you 30 million guaranteed at sign. I'm going to give you 30 million guaranteed in 26. I'm going to give you 40 million guaranteed in 27. However, the cookie crumbles.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all at signing. See, because Brad's smart and he knows the likelihood of Aiden getting injured again is much higher than it is lower. And injuries happen. So Brad, being the smart guy that he is, he actually can trade Aiden in 2027 and get out of that contract. Hell, he could even release him almost any year and still get out of that contract without losing a ton of money. And he gave up no first round picks. So if Aiden is this elite player that y'all love, which I love him too, I just don't think he's playing to his level yet. This Micah Parsons deal, for all of you that wanted another defensive end, you can replace Micah Parsons' name with Trey Hendrickson, Myles Garrett, Parsons, Crosby, name a player. And that player is now eating up 120 million full and guaranteed. And guess what? Parsons will not play again until probably 2027. And he's getting paid 40 plus million a year guaranteed now. For every year to sit and do nothing but rehab. Which means you can't go out and sign free agents. You can't go out and sign that amazing left tackle that you might need, or that amazing right guard or right tackle or left guard or center that you might need. Because 40 million guaranteed a year is at least 2 elite players. Could be 3. Could be an elite linebacker and an elite center for that kind of money. So you can get 2 or 3 players for that kind of money. That's why Brad Holmes is smart.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say something. So in the chat, I'm going to agree with something and I'm going to disagree with something. Okay. I am not going to slam Brad Holmes, but I do think he made a bad signing. As of now, the DJ Reed signing is not working out, but there's plenty of time for this to completely turn around. He was injured early in the season with a hamstring, and they didn't know if he was even going to be able to come back this year. That's how devastating of a hamstring injury this was. And I still don't think he's 100%, but he's out there giving it his all. But yes, was the DJ Reed signing not one of Brad's best signings? Yeah, it wasn't. I can admit that maybe we should have went after someone else.
Okay.
I can admit it. Okay.
Let me come back on that. I will agree.
But I love Brad. I'm not saying Brad's a bad GM whatsoever.
I know, but I'm talking about DJ Reed.
but I can admit that maybe he's not what we thought he was.
Okay. I will agree and disagree. I will agree on the fact that DJ Reed is not having a great season.
He's not performing well.
Okay. Here's the issue, though. He doesn't have his safeties, and he
Nope.
doesn't have Terry and Arnold. When you are a lone soldier, now I'm not excusing his play yesterday, because one-on-one you have to play well. Hold on, let me finish. I'll let you speak. Let me finish.
Yeah.
When you don't have anybody around you that can help you play to the scheme that you guys are known to play and have cohesion at all, it's pretty difficult to play your position. We've seen it happen everywhere. Whether it's Alex Anzalone or anybody else, when you're missing players around you, it's pretty tough to play your position. So is DJ Reed playing to his potential? No. Coming off a major injury this year, and getting back in the fold, I think is great. I'm not going to fully evaluate the DJ Reed situation until after next season. If DJ Reed is still around next season. Right now, I don't think you could trade him, and I don't think that you could cut him or release him and save any money. So DJ Reed will be here next year.
Mm-hmm.
But I also believe that when DJ Reed is back with his starting cast, that there's potential that he will be just fine, because we have seen DJ Reed play lockdown this year. We have.
Yeah.
Yesterday,
it's
it
the same
didn't
thing with
happen.
Amik Robertson.
I think that Calvin Shepard yesterday is to blame for the scheme into which DJ Reed did not play to his potential. Now, I won't fully say that Brad made a bad decision, but it was one of my questions on the sheet. Is DJ Reed gone in 26? Are we missing Terry and Arnold yet? And the answer would be no, I don't think he's gone, because I don't think the contract would allow it. Secondly, I don't think we fully evaluate DJ Reed until after next season. And thirdly, I think that with Terry and Arnold being out of the play and the DBs being stretched so thin as they are, they're being asked to do too much. And then take it one layer further. Calvin Shepard did not put them in a position to win. He did not give them a scheme that they can just go play in. He made them go man-to-man against some of the best in the league when you're depleted. So I agree with you. DJ Reed is not playing to his potential. But I will say it's too early to evaluate the signing just yet for me.
And, Amik Robertson, he's on the last year of his deal. So what do we do with him next year? Is he going to be back as a Lion? I don't know. He has one good play and then two bad ones. One good play and then two bad ones.
And I'm going to put that in the same boat as DJ Reed. I think.
And I am too.
Yeah.
He's not dealing with an injury. Well, he was yesterday, a thumb or something. And I just think he doesn't have the help around him. They're asking him to do way too much. When Terrion was in and Kirby was in and Brian Branch was in, Amik Robertson was playing lights out. When I went and saw Amik Robertson and got him to sign some stuff for me, I said to him, "You gonna get an interception tomorrow?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna get two of them tomorrow." And he almost did. He had one, almost had a second. And and then after that game, it seems like it's just went scorched earth, super quiet, nothing. You don't hear nothing about Amik Robertson ever since then. So I don't know. I don't know what changed. I know having Terrion and Kirby and Brian Branch all gone, that's got to be tough, man.
So
when you're asked to do so much more.
DB's playing spacing. And when your spacing dissipates because you don't have the cohesion any longer, that's when these guys get burned up a little bit. That's why I believe Calvin Shepard needed to put him in a position to win yesterday from a scheme standpoint. I think Amik plays fine with what he's tasked to do when he has a full complement, of DBs around him. I think he plays fine. Of course, I would love to see him back next year, especially with Terry and Arnold and DJ Reed. I think that those three, you really can't ask for a better three, especially if Brian Branch is back early. It's potential he could make training camp and be ready to go for week 1. There is that potential. So I'm gonna,
that would be nuts.
I'm gonna err on the side of caution, but there is potential he could be back for week 1. It's slim, but it's there. One other thing in the chat, or two things. We're asking, what are we developing for defensive end? I'm not even going to say Ahmed Hassanin is the answer. We don't know yet who Ahmed Hassanin is. But here's the problem.
Complete unknown.
Right, here's the problem. Why are we developing someone when AQM is playing just as good as Aiden?
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Well,
if you've paid attention, to my theories and what I call roster roulette, what I always said is the minute that the Lions end up paying Aiden, what will happen the next draft? Eric, you got to remember.
What's that?
When the Lions, roster roulette, when the Lions finally paid Aiden, what was going to happen? The next draft.
They're going to draft another edge rusher.
They're going to draft another edge. Why? Because roster roulette tells you go high, you go low. And low means money. So you spend that draft pick that you didn't waste on Parsons, who's now injured for the year. You have a first-round draft pick. And now you can go out and get a first-round edge if you get an opportunity to get one. Right? The unfortunate side is the edge position next draft is getting bleaker by the moment.
I'm not too worried about draft in the next or about edge rusher in this next draft. You know what I'm worried about? A left tackle.
Well, yeah, and we can get one. And you can probably get a left tackle in the first round. I think that Brad Holmes is probably, you've seen Brad Holmes make a lot of moves with his draft picks. I think that Brad is going to move up next year. We don't have a third-round pick. We will have one before the draft is out. But I think that you're going to see Brad potentially make a trade with some players and that's the thing that people don't understand. At least maybe I think that they don't understand. Had the Lions gone out and made a big trade for someone like Parsons, you would have lost a player. You would have traded a Lee McNeil away to bring in Parsons, and then you don't have a Lee McNeil, and then you got Parsons, who's done, and then you have no first-round picks either. It's just boneheaded.
If I was a Packer fan, I would be devastated. This was the move for Parsons was an absolute all-in, going for broke, this year, win a Super Bowl. And now 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, they were calling for Matt LaFleur's head. Even Packer fans and all the Packer sites were like, man, Matt LaFleur's on the hot seat. And then they go ahead and they string some games together. They win 4 games in a row. And then last night they lose to the Broncos. And what's the first thing I hear is Matt LaFleur is on the hot seat again. So just because they got Parsons does not mean they're going to even make the playoffs. Watch the Packers lose their last 3 games and not even make the playoffs. And they went all in and went for Parsons. So you want Brad Holmes to make that same stupid move? I think it was dumb. I said it was dumb when they did it. I thought it was way too much draft capital and way too much money. It's going to cripple that team. You're trying to put all your marshmallows in one bag.
Well, so on that theory though, I mean, you're not wrong, right? So here's what I don't get. Like this, I'm going to slam my head against the wall. It backfired. Yeah. So here's the thing. Okay, Parsons, he helped you win the regular season. Let's say he got you into the playoffs. He maybe helped you win the NFC North. But now he's done for the year. But you needed that player, right? In the regular season, you're going to tell me you don't need that player or now Kenny Clark in the postseason?
Yeah.
When you're going up against the most elite of the elite? Come on. Just because he helped you get somewhere doesn't mean that you no longer need the guy in the postseason. That's what you brought him in for. They went all in this year. This was a GM saving his job type of a move, and now he's going to lose his job because he just sold the farm, and they probably won't even make the playoffs if the Lions have anything to say about it, which I'm kind of worried about. Go ahead, Raw, if you're still in, go ahead and do your thing, man. I got it open for you. Edge position is not loaded in 26. Okay. I just spent the entire day the other day, even called Eric and I said, I just spent the entire day driving around, doing some research, listening. Yep. And here's what we got going on. A lot of players in the edge position in 26. Yes. Go look at their sizes. The college measurements are always a lie. If they say they're 6'5", they're probably 6'3". And if they say they're 6'3", they're probably 6'1". They say they're 270. They're probably 248. So until we see the combine measurements and the actual measurements, I can't trust. And I even have like 8 first-round grades right now, and that could be, one sec, Raw. That could be slim to 3. That could be slim to 3 or 4 first-round grades, depending on where their size comes from or where it ends up. So if the Lions are looking at somebody, it has to be that 6'4" and up, 260 and up, 33.5-inch arms and up, good speed, right? All the good stuff. You can't just go and take anybody. You can't take a project. You have to take someone that is the best at their position or second best or third best at their position. And even then, it's not likely that they're going to come in year one and have any sort of a difference. Good morning, Raw. How are you this morning?
I'm good, man. How are you?
You've heard. You've heard.
I suck this morning.
I've been listening very quietly.
Yeah.
Making a comment here and there.
It's one of those days. It's one of those days, Raw, where I'm either gonna earn some love with the fan base, or they're just gonna hate me because either I speak too much truth, or we're just in a bad way right now. The Lions are not doing well. But what happened yesterday, man?
Well, I hate to start backwards and then move forward, but I feel this is kind of appropriate just to kind of stay on topic here. With Aiden Hutchinson, I saw a lot of times, like I've seen in many crucial games that we should have won but lost, like against KC and Philly. And now I can add the Rams to that list, to where Aiden Hutchinson was basically held, grabbed, and manhandled all game long. And it's not in the sense to where he's not effective. It's to the sense where he is too effective, and it's disrupting the quarterback to have any type of success. I saw him getting clothesline grabbed a number of times across the neck. I've seen blockers where you're supposed to have your hands inside the shoulder pads, outside of the shoulder pads, underneath the arms, kind of trying to grab them and hold them stationary.
So there should have been penalties. Is that what you're saying? There should have been more calls?
There should have been a lot of calls, particularly towards Hutch. Hutch was given that defensive line fits quite often. Stafford would have never had time to distribute the ball around the field like he did. If those flags were thrown, he would have had to have sped up his internal clock.
So let me ask you a question on that. Let me ask you a question on the penalty side of it, because it's been a consistent issue, and we've had, not you and I, but we've had the same conversation now since Aiden's been in town. That he gets held, he gets clotheslined, he gets this, he gets that. Every game, the refs aren't throwing the flag. So they've never thrown the flag. They're not going to throw the flag. But my question is, what are other edge defenders doing that is allowing them to have success, and why can they have success and Aiden can't under the same guise of penalties not being called? For me, it's arm length. If you allow yourself to get wrapped up inside a tackle, then yeah, you're gonna get mauled. But if you can stay away from that tackle and actually do a rip and some sort of a move that can get you beyond the tackle, then he can win. But he's not doing that.
I know you're not supposed to do this, but let me answer a question with a question, and then I'll lead into my additional answer after that. Okay, what's the difference between a premier offensive tackle and a depth offensive tackle?
What's the difference between a premier offensive tackle and a depth, like a second or third stringer?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say probably experience being the biggest factor. You probably are going to have some size drop off. You're definitely going to have some cohesion issues. But I would say it's footwork too. Yeah, of course. They could be a little bit slower in their footwork.
Okay.
It's experience.
Aiden Hutchinson's strength is based off his footwork. He has elite footwork. He knows how to keep his balance while maintaining perpetual force moving forward. So his footwork, bar none, is Myles Garrett's level. The difference between the two players is Myles Garrett has additional length and power. They're almost the same player, just built differently. Where Aiden Hutchinson gets his technique from the waist down and keeps going forward, where Myles Garrett's technique is more based from the ground up because of how evenly proportioned his size is.
So if I were to add something to
Aiden's
that,
a little
Raw, if I were to
thinner.
add, let me add something to that. So what I see, and I think what you're going with here, is where Aiden just converts rawness to speed and sticks with speed. Myles Garrett converts speed into power and then overpowers the tackle. And that comes from length. It comes from using a long stab arm. It comes from wingspan, but it comes from explosion. It comes from explosion at the hip level to be able to get into the tackle, lean into the tackle, and bounce the tackle off of you with a long arm. So he's converting speed to power, where Aiden is fast and furious and then fizzles. Am I?
Well, Aiden has power too. It's just he has to be selective when he's using his power move. It's his footwork that generates his pressure. He creates openings by putting a player in front of him off balance, which gives him a leverage advantage. And then he uses that to manipulate the tackle to where he needs them to be so he can get around them more smoothly. Well, the only problem is Aiden's arm length isn't quite as long as anybody else's. So when he gets near or close to their pads, that being their chest, they're able to grab him and neutralize him. As soon as they grab and neutralize, the play's over.
Legal grab or illegal grab?
Illegal grab.
Okay.
100% illegal grab. They're doing it almost every single play. Aiden generates a pressure. That's a hold that didn't get flagged. Aiden doesn't get through the pocket. That's a hold that doesn't get flagged. This is a consistent thing with Aiden. They're holding him so perpetually that it's like a second nature. You want to stop Aiden? Just grab him. The refs don't even care. And it's been shown through game and game and game that the refs do not care because they're not throwing these flags. He had an arm. He twisted the tackle all the way around. He was facing Stafford. The tackle was beside or behind him and had his arm draped around the back of his neck or the front of his neck while he's behind Aiden to hold him back. No flag. Stafford delivered a beautiful deep ball down the seam.
Yeah. And I know exactly what you're talking about. We've seen it plenty of time. I mean, I see it with pretty much every other defensive end too.
So to say that Aiden's not being effective is wrong because he is being effective. It's the officials that aren't doing the job that they're basically hired to do. They're doing too much to protect these quarterbacks from players like Aiden. Okay. And I'm sure you see the same things when you're watching the Packers versus the Denver Broncos.
Yeah,
Michael
Parsons, yeah, it happens with Parsons. It happens with Garrett. It happens with everybody. But then they need to either make a rule change. Otherwise, we would need to look a little bit closer at the play. I mean, let me give you this real quick. The definition, of what offensive, which but what offensive tackles can and can't do. They can use
you
their
have to keep your hands inside the body.
Inside,
you cannot extend your hands outside. Once the hands go outside, it's basically an automatic hold.
Well, they can They can take an open hand or a closed fist, but usually an open hand, right? And they can bump a shoulder pad. They can do that. They can pitter pat you outside the line.
Yes. They can't latch on though.
Yeah, they can go outside the frame that way. Otherwise, offensive linemen are allowed to clutch inside the frame. And place their hands on the defender's chest or the shoulders to control leverage, but they can't clamp down and then steer you. They can't do that. They can have arms extended, right? They have the long arm. They can pitter-pat you around. They can lock out the arms to maintain separation. They can mirror and steer, which is what they do to Aiden a lot. They mirror and steer him because he likes to go wide. They use his inertia, like Tom Brady kept saying yesterday, against him to steer him wide outside that D gap, which opens up the D gap. The punch technique, which is the quick strike.
Let me stop you right there.
Go ahead.
You say Aiden likes to go wide too much, so they use his inertia against him and steer him further wide, right?
Correct.
How often does Aiden cut across that tackle and try and dive inside?
I mean, he does it on some plays. He crashes. He crashes
and
in.
when he doesn't get through there, why do you think he doesn't come? Why do you think he can't get through there? Because they're grabbing the outside of his shoulder because they know he just got them caught off balance.
Mm-hmm.
They have absolutely no leverage in this situation, and they're holding him.
Sometimes, yes, and I would agree with that. And I will also say that there's been plays where I've seen Aiden completely pancaked, and they just block him and he into the line, and then he goes down. So I've seen it both ways. But I do agree that there's a lot of
focus.
There's
so
a lot
much on Aiden.
No, go ahead. You can go to your next subject. I'm just saying I see it both ways. I agree with you.
I just wanted to add to the whole Aiden thing. He was very effective. That interception was all him. The way he twisted, reached back, and plucked that ball out of the hands, that's like tight end stuff right there. That's what they teach tight ends to do, wide receivers to do. So it was really good to see Aiden make that adjustment and catch for the interception. Sorry to disagree with you on that.
No, it's all good. I see it differently, and that's okay. That's where we're allowed to have an adult conversation. It's all good.
Hey, you guys.
The other topic I wanted to...
hold on one sec, Rob. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, I'm going to interrupt you guys for a second.
Yep.
Okay. The pool report came out yesterday. For yesterday. Okay. In a pool report, lead official Alan Eck said it was a touchdown because we said it was. Asked how they came to that decision, Eck replied, because we discussed it and decided it. Asked if the receiver's knee was down short, Eck explained, we ruled that it was not. So that's it.
Wow.
That is quite an interesting report. And if you go back into the Blue Zone, which I'm sure you fellas will later, and all the members, I posted a clip with the perfect angle that shows that when that knee came down, and that arm with the ball touched the ground, that ball came loose, the ball hit the ground, it's an incomplete pass.
Incomplete pass.
So anything that happens beyond that point of the ball rolling free from his arms once he made contact with the ground is null and void.
It's crazy.
Just like Des Bryant occurred a couple of years ago in the playoffs. He made that catch against Green Bay. They ruled the ball made contact with the ground, incomplete pass. Exact same scenario. Exact same scenario.
Where's the pool report? Can you get this to me? Because I tried looking it up and I can't find it.
Birchie Kid just posted it on X.
I don't even know who that is. Anyway, go ahead, Rob. What was your next subject, man?
The next subject was the secondary. I think those safeties were, although Eric likes to refer to them as the Legion of Hoon, I think they showed their true colors. They are the Legion of Hoon for a reason, because they didn't play very good. Unfortunately, our corners rely on our safeties to play backup.
Mm-hmm.
DJ Reed was too tight in the hips. He needed to open his hips up more. That may have been because of his hamstring issue. He didn't want to re-pull it or restrain it and be off the seat for the rest of the season. But he was too tight in the hips. He wasn't turning with the wide receivers. He wasn't opening his hips up enough. And that caused a lot of delay reaction to how they were cutting. Devontae Adams has one move, and he does it very, very well. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, hold on. Just on that, you brought up something that I forgot to mention earlier. That hamstring injury with DJ Reed, I've kind of felt the same way, and you just made a very, very, very good point that it is quite possible that he is still tight and still dealing with something. And yesterday, if he is, yesterday it really showed it. But then again, why wouldn't Kelvin Shepherd put them in a better position to win, knowing you're going up against two elite receivers and your corner is still bothered by something. I know Calvin Shepard is too much macho man to say, we're not going to say we're injured, but dude, you have to deal with injuries. And if these guys are banged up and they're trying to play, you have to give them some help. So that's a very good point that he could still be tight and dealing with something.
Unfortunately, it's just like I said earlier, we had the Legion of Whom back there playing safety. Although they've played good in the past, those aren't great players. They're prone to make more mistakes than great plays, and that we just have to settle with the consequences of having to play them versus having our natural key starters out there. They're depth players for a reason, and unfortunately, they had to start versus a really good offense.
Mm-hmm.
Versus an offense that leaned on holding our right edge, more than to allow Stafford to survey the field and get the ball out. I mean, Stafford had a lot of time in that pocket, and it wasn't by design, in my opinion. It was by negligence by the officials. I think our defensive scheme was built around experienced players. Now, when you don't have those experienced players, you're going to have falters. Giving up that pass to Puka Nacua at the end of the second quarter that basically put them in field goal range, that was on the safety. I don't know why he was trying to play the seam route there. He should have been backing up and moving towards the sideline just in case Reed got beat over top. I mean, Reed was beat numerous times in the first half, so I don't know why he thought Reed would be able to control that, but maybe he got a scouting report, and the scouting report said that he was going to try and run an inside post. I don't know, but that's not what happened. That safety needs to be back there in case there's an issue on the outside, and clearly there was. Reed fell down. Puka Nacua was wide open. That's like a 30, 40-yard catch and put him in field goal range to give up 3 points.
I just got to put hold on. I got to put a quick correction out there on that pool report. So I'm looking at Will Birchfield's Twitter, and what he said in here is this is not the actual pool report.
Oh, okay.
He said it might be. I don't blame you for believing it, but okay. So yeah, like I said, I didn't see the pool report yet. And I'll look on my media portal here in a little while. But just a quick correction. But you know what though, I would have believed it too, because that sounds exactly like something they would say.
Yeah, it's like a dad saying, "Because I said so."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let me ask you a question, Raw.
Yep.
What the hell was Calvin Shepard thinking yesterday and not? I mean, I get it. When you try to bracket or double team a player, you're taking a player from their own position and you're opening up another hole. Yesterday, what I saw and what the Rams do very well is they set a very good edge with 4. They rush 4 more often than any time else. They hardly blitz, less than 26% of the time. And that is why Jared Goff had some time yesterday, even though he was getting pressure. He was navigating the pocket well. I'll digress. The issue for me is if we would have just rushed 4, if we would have put Jack Campbell back there just to spy the run game, just to make sure that nobody's going to get through the A and the B gap. And then if you've got to go to C and D, that's fine. If Anzo and Barnes are in coverage, or maybe you don't have 3 linebackers in, maybe you have 2 and you go to 5 or 6 DBs. Why didn't we see that yesterday when everything seemed to fail in man defense? Or what could have Shepard, do you think, maybe could have done differently to help these guys out?
Okay, this is where I'm going to turn the conversation away from Calvin Shepard, okay?
Okay.
Yes, I will say his inexperience showed a little bit. I think he put together a decent game plan. I think he just ran up against one of the offensive gurus who schemes in the NFL, being Sean McVay. As much as I don't like Sean McVay, you can't deny the man's ability to run an offense. nor the ability of our former quarterback playing quarterback for his offensive scheme. He did a lot of things that put our defense at a disadvantage, and every play they ran was like they were setting up the next play.
Yeah.
I don't think Kelvin Shepard saw that far into the future. He was too worried about stopping what he saw in front of them instead of what they're going to do next. And that's where the inexperience comes in. Will that change? Absolutely. Will Kelvin Shepard learn from this? Absolutely. Kelvin Shepard's a very smart man. He's a great motivator. He knows how to talk to his players. Look at what he's gotten out of what he's had to work with this season.
I think that's something that's also overblown too, Raw. Like, a lot of fans don't understand what look, I love Calvin Shepard. I think he's great for this defense, and I think the defense is only going to get better. It's already shown leaps and bounds over what Aaron Glenn was able to do. Now, he was handed a much better defense from day one, but then day one turned into day 41, and it's no longer the same defense because we're missing all of our secondary at various points throughout the season, and it's never been a perfect situation for him. And I think he's done an excellent job at commanding the defense. But yesterday I felt like he handicapped us and he didn't play to our strengths and what we really had. I kept saying during the live stream, you can't play like you have safeties, because that's what we were missing is our safeties. Right. So that's how I feel about Calvin. Is I think he's great for the defense, but to your point too, man, we just don't have anybody back there consistently that we can trust. And I think that that showed up yesterday too.
Sorry for cutting you off.
You're
but
good.
I'll speak to this series of plays that McVay ran, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So he ran an off tackle to the right side. Then he ran a shotgun outside zone run. Then he ran a shotgun outside zone run to the left side again. Back-to-back shotgun outside zone runs. 3 running plays in a row. Then he ran a shotgun PA to the left with a bootleg, and Stafford hit Colby Parkinson over the middle by himself, nobody around. He set up that bootleg with those 2 outside zone runs. And those outside zone runs, one was effective, one was ineffective. But the Lions had to play that run, because if they didn't, it's basically you just giving them an extra 8 to 12 yards in the run game. You don't want to do that. So he was setting up his plays for the next play to come up. And he was doing that to us all game long. Unfortunately, Shepard's inexperience showed there, and he wasn't calculating for what's he going to do next to us. It was more of, what am I looking at? What's my defense looking at? How do I stop what I'm looking at? You're not setting the guys up in the right mind frame for the counter to what you're looking at.
So I call that, I call that being a mixologist. And Dan Campbell yesterday was doing great in the first half, and then the mixology just stalled out. It's like he was mixing up, a Long Island iced tea, using 7 different bottles in the beginning, and then he went to just vodka soda.
Well, you also see Dan Campbell become very emotional because he cares about this team, this fan base, this franchise. He wants to play for us. And once you just see, and you're in the flow of the game, and then you just see call after call after call after call not going your way, or just not being called,
mm-hmm.
then that wears on a head coach as well. And it's unfortunate that he is emotional, but it's also very beneficial for us that he is that emotional, because it's a reflection of care. And he cares about this team much more than he says he does. And you can read it on his face at the end of the game when the clock hits 0 and we lose. You see that on his face. It looks like the man wants to cry because he feels like he let Detroit down. Not Detroit Lions down, but the Detroit City down.
Yeah.
Because the expectations are so high for this team, because he put them there. He took this team from a 3-13 record, 3-14 record. He took this team to 9-8. Then he took this team to 12-5. First playoff victory, first home playoff victory. Then he took this team riddled with injuries to 15-2. Injuries that no other franchise has ever experienced in the history of the Super Bowl era. So many starters gone on IR. Took us to 15-2. Only to watch our offensive coordinator sell us out in the division round of the playoffs. And then go to a division rival. And to see that same division rival 11-3. Well, we're
10-4, yeah. 10-4 right now, yeah.
But you understand the message, right? Like,
yeah.
He cares so much.
No, he cares, and I think,
He's an emotional guy.
reliving.
He's got a heart of steel.
I'm glad that you just said our offensive coordinator sold us out last year, because I absolutely believe he scuttled the ship last season just so he could get the hell out and get to Chicago and then say, you know what, I got enough to go do some damage over there. Let me switch your brain for just a second. Are the Chicago Bears, are they a real team? Are they for real? Are they benefiting from a weak schedule and now benefiting from injuries and things that are going to face them over the next few games, where teams like the Packers are now depleted on offense and defense, two of their biggest playmakers?
Chicago is a series of fortunate events right now.
Exactly.
Chicago has what looks to be one of the best offensive scheme or schematic designed coaches as a head coach. They already had, I know you said Chicago's defense is a fraud, but I disagree. Chicago's defense was really, really good. They just ran into a situation where they had an inadequate offense, which left them on the field for too long, and they started wear and tear and getting exposed. Couple that defense, which I think is probably 8 to 10 best defense in the league. Couple that with an offense that can keep the ball moving, keep the chains moving, keep them fresh in the game. That could become a very dangerous team, especially if Caleb Williams has been playing like he was yesterday.
Well, I will say
That
this.
Cleveland defense is really good.
I will say this.
It really is. Myles Garrett got his 2 sacks, or what he got yesterday. He was putting pressure on Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson designed an offense to get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'll say that the Chicago Bears secondary is damn scary. Like really good. Really, really, really good. I'm not sold on Caleb Williams. I think, you're going up against what is rated as a second ranked defense in the league. But yesterday they did not play anything close to what they normally, how they play. And I do believe that there was some inadequate refereeing in that game as well. But Caleb Williams is who I think he is so far. He won't win games late in the game. I know he has this year against very poor teams, but I'll just go back to, the previous week where he throws an interception, on the final play of the game. That's what Caleb Williams has been more often than not. We'll see. He's been asked to hand the ball off a lot this year. They've been winning with their run game. When he's asked to throw, he's barely completing 58% of his passes. That's not going to last in the playoffs. And not everyone is going to allow them to run. You sell out to stop the run, and I think that the Bears are done for. Hell, we torched them in week 2, and they couldn't move the ball. God, I hope we can get back to that in week 18, where it's going to be really cold. That ball's going to sting. So, what else you got?
Ben Johnson has shown the ability that he can scheme around any inadequate part of an offense. I think they're going to open the game up with a lot of different types of screens. and they're going to be somewhat effective enough to give their defense a chance to let them win the game. The whole Brad Holmes thing. Geez, Lord, I see so many people in your chat, in your comment section, just Brad Holmes this and Brad Holmes this and Brad Holmes missed and Brad Holmes did this and I would have done that differently. I challenge everybody to go out there and look at every roster, 32 teams over the last 5 years, and tell me how many players over the last 5 years that have been drafted have made it to a Pro Bowl. There is not a single team in the NFL that has more drafted Pro Bowlers in the last 5 years than the Detroit Lions.
Oh, for sure.
And that's the GM that you guys want to chase away from Detroit. I understand he may have missed on a 5th-round pick, or he gave up too much to get a late third to grab a player that he wanted, that he liked. The potential risk reward for moving those picks and getting those players is huge. And I don't think these people understand when you hit on a player that you traded 2 fourths and a third to get a late third, when you hit on that player, the massive value return that you have in plug and play immediate starter is so huge. Like, imagine trading 2 fifths and a fourth to draft Amon-Ra St. Brown.
No one would be.
That's inconceivable.
Yeah, but no one would be complaining now.
Exactly. You're not complaining when he hits. You're only complaining on this. Like, if your expectation of your general manager is the 100% hit on every single player that you draft, you've already failed as a fan of that team with your expectations so high, because it's not conceivable. You need to lower your expectations, hope for 2 to 3 players to make your roster. Not practice squad, just to make your roster out of your draft class. Because I tell you right now, if you have 7 draft picks, 1 in every round, 4 of those players are destined for a practice squad. 5 of those players are destined for a practice squad. 1 of those players maybe is a starting quality player right out of college, and the other one is a depth piece. The fact that we've hit on so many players and they're immediate plug-and-play starters is wild.
Yeah. It is wild. And that's
Wild.
what, here's what I'm going to warn fans for just a moment. Just remember what it is like right now to win. And yes, we are going through a rough patch right now, but just remember what it's like to win. But then think for a moment, 5 years ago, what it was like to lose. Because if you chase Brad Holmes,
What was it like?
If you chase Brad Holmes
What
out
was
of
it
here,
like when we had Bob Quinn?
yeah, if you chase Brad Holmes out of here, you have no idea what it is that we're going to get to replace him. And what I'm sick of hearing is, well, Sheila Hamp is not going to allow that to happen. She's not going to allow the Lions to go back to what they were. Well, that's great in theory. Sheila Hamp is not a young individual herself. She's only getting older. And we don't know until at what point, she's going to be around, or she's going to hand the team off to somebody else. But you never know what you're going to get in a GM. They can sell you everything. They can talk, like everything is roses and rainbows, and they know everything. And it sounds like a good idea. And then it fails because under pressure, not everybody responds the same way. And I think that Brad Holmes under pressure has been just steady in the waters for the Lions. And we are in a very good situation.
Let's bypass Bob Quinn, okay? Bob Quinn, he terrible. He failed on multiple levels. Let's go back to Martin Mayhew. How was he as a GM?
Atrocious.
Y'all remember the last offensive tackle we drafted that wasn't named Taylor Decker or Penei Sewell that started on our team that was supposed to be really good?
Say that
Throw
one
the
more
name
time.
out there.
Say that one more time.
You remember the last offensive tackle that we took early in the draft that wasn't Taylor Decker or Penei Sewell, that was a starting caliber tackle that was supposed to be really good.
Can
you
I
remember the last guy we had? Can you name him?
Wow.
Nope.
I'll throw his
Dominic
name out there right
Raiola.
now.
Well, Raiola was the best center.
Riley Reef.
Yeah. Oh, Riley Reef.
Y'all remember Riley Reef?
Oh,
We took him in the second round with Martin Mayhew, and he was supposed to be a stud. He played 3 years for us, went to Minnesota for 3 years, and then he was gone from the NFL. Y'all are praying Decker retires at the end of the season. I hope he is healthy enough to give us one more, because on Taylor Decker's worst day, it is still way better than what we had in Riley Reef.
Oh, yeah. People forget
So
Matt Millen as
let's
well.
put that into perspective as well. Like, you think these Pro Bowl players that Brad Holmes is plucking out of college are a dime a dozen, and they're not. You're lucky if you get 3 or 4 Pro Bowl players out of one college draft in 1 year. And he's got like 7 or 8 of them out of the last few years. Like, come on.
Well, hey, guys, I have to call it quits for the day.
Yeah, it's been a long day.
So I will see you guys all tomorrow.
All right, Eric. Take care, man. All right, Raw.
The Detroit Lions may be in a little bit of a lull, but I have the belief that the NFL is going to stop dicking us around. Excuse my language. Sorry, you got sponsors.
No, it's all good.
But I hope they're going to let us be the team that we are, because if they actually start calling these games in somewhat of an unbiased manner, there's not a team in the league that can stop our offense. There's not a team in the league that can stop our defense from stopping their offense. And we're going to be the next best thing since the Patriots for a long time.
You know, I think that's the one thing that, another thing that Lions fans are forgetting. I mean, just not to pick on this dude in the chat, but, you know, saying consistently, oh, we have Manu, oh, we have Mahogany, or we have Iwasaka. First of all, Mahogany probably would have been a second-round pick. He was passed on because one leg was shorter than the other by an inch. When he was in, he played extremely well. He's also very young, still very raw, played extremely well next to a left tackle that doesn't have a shoulder. Mahogany's a very good football player. Here's what people need to stop criticizing Brad Holmes for. Mahogany may not be your final answer as a left guard starter. Frazier might not be your answer as a starting left guard, right? Both of those guys could end up being backups. Both of them. One of them could slide to center. We don't know. One of them could even move out to left tackle, which could potentially be Frazier. I would say that's a bad idea. But the point that I'm trying to make is both of those guys can be extremely good backups. And if Brad goes out and grabs a left tackle or brings in a left tackle in free agency and vice versa with left guard, now you don't have Iwasaka, and now you still have Manu in a backup role. These guys can be backups. They don't have to be starters. But to say that, oh, well, we have those guys, you're forgetting the important point here is they're drafted late. They're playing meaningful snaps in the NFL, and they're playing at a high level. Mahogany was one of the highest graded guards last year when he played. I don't know where his grades are this year. I know some games have been better than others. But in the run game, he's done pretty well. Pass pro, he's learning.
Those guards also lean on the center for guidance
Yep.
on every play. The center hands out the blocking assignments, and right now, I don't think our center is very good. I mean, Graham Glasgow is an older individual. He was always meant to play right guard. He was never a center. He played center out of necessity, and it's very unfortunate we didn't get Ragnow back for this year. I know it was planned for him to come back. However, the doctor gave him bad news, and his recommendation was not to play. You can't fault the man for valuing his own personal health over a team. He wanted to come back. He saw how bad and rough we were in without him. Unfortunately, he couldn't come back because he still has an injury he's nursing. Like, I don't know how you expect perfection out of players that are learning and coming into the sport.
You know, I think
it takes a little bit of time for them to get their legs under them.
you know, the other thing too is like saying Glasgow is great. The Broncos cut him. You know, look, Glasgow was never supposed to be our starting center this year. He was our starting center by default because Ragnow decided to retire after the draft, after free agency, which is after the, you know, which is before the draft. And so you're kind of stuck. And I said this yesterday, Raw. I don't know if you heard this, but you know, who is Brad Holmes going to bring in when all of free agency is done, the draft is done, and you're now into OTAs? The next time you get an opportunity to really bring someone in is when? After the 90-man roster cuts. And how many top-tier centers are there going to be after 32 teams just cut all of their players? Name me one center of starting quality that would have been available. Matter of fact, name me a team that even really has two centers on their roster and both of them are starters. Because the answer is zero.
Zero.
How many?
Whoever you do trade for, you're massively overpaying for because that team doesn't actually want to let them go. So they're going to charge you a premium price. So our Brad Holmes was handcuffed right from that point with our offensive line. Now, the bright side is, you mentioned it earlier, they're getting meaningful snaps. He knows what we have going into next season. He knows what we need to get. And I would expect FA to be pretty fruitful for offensive linemen, especially one or two coming our way. We may pay one relatively top dollar to get them to come. And then another backup depth piece might earn a little bit of money. And we're going to roll with what we got and hit the draft and see where we go from there. But this team isn't as bad of a shape as it looks. The unfortunate part is the bias in the league is kind of handicapping us to a pretty extreme degree.
Yeah, so here's another thing. I don't know who's giving us all these gems, but Brad passed on Graham Barton. Graham Barton drafted in 2024. I believe was taken 2 or 3 spots after the Lions took Terry and Arnold. And wasn't Frank Ragnow playing? Yes, he was. Wasn't Frank Ragnow under contract? Yes, he was. Didn't Frank Ragnow play last year? Yes, he did. And was he still one of the best centers in the league in 2024? Yes, he was. So that again has
named the best center in the league.
That has so again passing on Graham Barton. So you're going to take a position that you don't need when Brad doesn't draft for need. He drafts to fill the pipeline with the best player available. And he's never doubled down in the first round and taken the same style of a player or the same position twice in the first round since he's been the GM, even though he's had multiple first round picks in the same draft. Took Terry and Arnold, which you can't argue the fact that when Terry and Arnold is in this year as a young corner, he's played pretty damn good. Injuries got him this year. And you know what? He came back and tried to gut it out. He wasn't the same. But when Terry and Arnold's been in this year, he's been better than pretty much anybody else we've had in there. So,
but did you see the vicious hit he delivered before he hurt his shoulder again?
Yeah,
that's a man that's willing to put it all on the line. That man looked like Brian Dawkins when he put that shoulder into whoever we played a couple weeks ago when he walked off the field with his injury.
I mean, I think that's the hit that did it.
Damn hard.
Honestly, I think that's the hit that did it. He was tested to get up and do something in the run game, and so he did. He jumped up and then he went and laid the wood on. I forget who it was, but he laid the wood on that dude, and I think that's what caused the injury again because. You know, they said, look, you need to do more in the run game. So what does he do? He goes and does more in the run game, and then he gets injured. So, and again, it's like challenge your guys to do what they're good at doing, but maybe take into consideration that he's not fully healthy and you're asking him to go do more. Or maybe I just don't understand football. Super chat here from the Lost Angels. Says, like I said, Jake Slaughter from Florida, center we need in the draft. Maybe we could get him in the second round and draft a first left tackle. I would say that most extremely good centers are drafted after the first round. I don't know of too many centers that are often drafted in the first round every single year.
The last two that rattle off the top of my head is Frank Ragnow and Tyler Lindenbaum.
And so Frank, I forget where was he drafted at?
Frank was drafted around pick 18.
Was he?
We took him just before the Patriots because there was a rumor that Bill Belichick wanted Frank Ragnow, and Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia were super excited to snake him away from Bill Belichick.
So here's a quick search. Between 2009 and 2022, so about 13 drafts, it says the NFL centers are drafted in the first round very infrequently, with only about 10 of them taken since 2009. So that would be almost one per draft. But when you look at the names, Marquise Pouncey, Travis Frederick, Ryan Kelly, Frank Ragnow, and Tyler Linderbaum, those are the ones that really stand out. Cesar Ruiz in 2020, Garrett Bradbury in 2019, Billy Price and Frank Ragnow both in 2018.
I think Bradbury moved over to guard, if I'm not correct.
He might have, yeah.
He plays guard right now.
He might have. Cameron Irving, I don't even know who that is. Mike Pouncey, who's definitely out of the league, and Marquise Pouncey all the way back to 2010. So it's a rarity. I mean, you get a lot of them in the second round, but I guess, that's another argument, right? But again, Frank retired after the fact, you guys. And I know we keep saying...
And it was doctor recommended. It's not like he retired to sabotage the franchise like everyone thinks Barry and Kelvin did.
Yeah.
No. Frank retired out of a medical necessity. He tried to come back. He saw the state of our O-line. He knows Graham Glasgow isn't doing a good enough job. He can't come back because of a continual medical issue, but it's a completely different one than the one he was forced to retire with. That should tell you something. The man wants to play. He just can't physically because of the medical issues.
Yeah, that's
we
crazy.
were kind of trapped in this situation. Unfortunately, he got late news, we got late news, and we had to roll with what we had, which wasn't a whole lot of experience. I see this FA going a lot different. I see our draft going a lot different. This team doesn't have a whole lot of holes, and I know it may look like it based off the injury report, but we really don't have a whole lot of holes when the whole roster is healthy. Right now, we're basically got to have foresight and try and plan to draft according to injury that may occur during the next season. That's impossible to predict. So I don't know how else to say it. Our GM's been amazing, better than amazing. Be grateful we have him. Our head coach, better than amazing. He took a dead franchise, a franchise that you go to coach to end your career. He took it to start his career and has flourished.
So a question from the chat, is it coaching costing us wins or is it player performance? Who is more to blame? I guess if you take the entire season as a totality, I would say that offensive coordinator cost us quite a bit early. We lost some games that we shouldn't have lost. I think that our defense, our defense has been averaging 32 points per game over the last 4 games. That to me is coaching, as well as it could be personnel on the field. It's kind of hard to drive a stake onto either one of them because I think that when you don't have the right personnel, it's hard for the coaching to do what they need to do. Our coaches have. I
think you hit the head right on the nail with that entire answer.
Yeah, but the other side of it, you look at, okay, when the Legion of Whom did come in that one game, the first game, and they played extremely well. That is coaching, right? Putting them in a position to win. And what Calvin Shepard said is, I'm not going to put a ton on them. I'm going to let them go play. And when you let them go play, they play great. But I think these 10 days, Raw, and I'll finish with this, these 10 days off, every time we come off a long bye or a long stretch, it seems like, I'm guessing here, that they're putting way too much into the game plan. And we've heard it before from Dan Campbell that they did too much. They tried to put too much in. They made it too confusing, where we're already having issues with illegal formations or, communication or whatever it is. I don't think we had one illegal formation call yesterday, which was great. But too much not enough communication going on. And then they try to install an extremely difficult game plan. And you're doing it with guys that are young, raw, no cohesion. Yeah, you're asking for trouble. This was a game that they needed to play a little bit more vanilla and keep everything in front of them and then attack where they can attack. And it just seemed like it was all over the place. When you see Jack Campbell turning his back and running left, running right, running backwards, that's not good. And he should be right on it like he always is. And man, he was all over yesterday. And not in a good way. I mean, he racked up a bunch of tackles, but it wasn't dominant because I think he was out of sorts.
I like Jack Campbell running north and south. I don't like him running side to side, sideline to sideline. It's not that I don't think he has the speed. I just like him tackling head on. As much as you'd prefer anybody to. I just think Anzalone might be a little more quicker than he is.
Mm-hmm.
Jack's a big dude. Jack's a really big dude. I'd much rather him challenge an offensive lineman than having Anzalone doing it, to be completely honest.
I think, if we've got one big upgrade to make on this defense next year, it is linebacker. And I hate to say it, I think Anzo's gone. I think we need to get younger and faster and more rangier with coverage versus, just downhill thumper. I think Anzo's done a phenomenal job. I love the dude. I think he's been great for Detroit. I hate to see him go somewhere else, but if he wants a big contract, I don't think it's going to work in Detroit. And even a medium-sized contract is not going to work at this point. I want to see us get younger and rangier and someone that can cover, because right now our coverage is lacking in the middle of that defense. And it's not all their fault, because if our safeties are in, if Brian Branch is in, that mitigates a lot of that. And that really helps our linebackers to stay true to what their job and assignment is. And then, unfortunately, yesterday you saw a lot of dropping into coverage by Jack, and that's where we started to have problems. When he's dropping back and he can't thump the run, you're going to have him getting into the second level 4 to 7 yards deep, and that happened quite a bit. So what's your final take of the day? I got to run, man.
No worries. Sorry for keeping you so long.
No, you're good. I love it when you call in. It's all good.
Final take of the day is the Lions got to go on an 0-3 stretch. We got 3 teams ahead of us, and they are definitely beatable as long as the officials remain unbiased. Quit holding Hutch. Let the man run and go. Beat you, swallow your pride, and try better on the next play. I don't know what to tell you, man, but you got to stop holding him.
Yeah, that's some serious issues. Appreciate the call, man. You have a good rest of your day. And, hey, we got to win out. We still have a chance, man. We just got to win out. Take care, Rob. We'll see you.
Bye.
All right. The raw, the real, the authentic. Robbie always breaks it down. And I think he's got great points either way. He stays fairly neutral with everything. It's fun being able to have adult conversations and be able to disagree, right? Not yell, jump, scream at each other or call each other names, right? We don't do that here. It's just not what we're all about. Man. A lot of issues yesterday. A lot of issues. It's kind of hard to point your finger at any single one, especially when you listen to more and more good football knowledge and other takes I'm rattling around in my head right now thinking of plays and where things went wrong. I'll start where I just ended, in the middle of this defense. Jack yesterday was dropping into coverage, and I think that was a problem. Not so much a problem for his skill level, but I think that is the reason. That's not the reason. That's the wrong word. Jack dropping into coverage is a direct result of Brian Branch being out of the game. Brian covers, at least middle of the field to one side, right? Behind the linebackers. You don't have to worry from 4 yards to 12 yards. He's got that whole thing locked up. That's what Brian Branch does. Him out of that game, you could tell why Dan Campbell was really upset after losing Brian. He knew what that defense was about to go through. And they went through it yesterday. When your linebackers can't, like Ross said, they can't play north, south to north, or they can't run north and just get after the run. Well, you saw the run game fall apart. The run defense fall apart yesterday because our linebackers were dropping back. We should have just rushed 4. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Hindsight 2020. Rush 4. Keep your linebackers where they needed to be. Bring in more DBs. Get faster. I'd rather have a guy fast and maybe he needs an extra guy to pull somebody down, but at least get there to contest the play. And time again yesterday, we had guys that were wide open. Contested catches, just not really contested. Guys that were not in the right space to create a play. You could say that our pass rush was anemic, but my game plan going into this game was to set an edge. Spy Jack on the run game and just set an edge. Take your shots where you can get them. And the reason why I say that, and why I said it last week, and why I said it a few times, is my last point of the day is the edge that was set by the Rams. Look what it did to our run game. When you set a hard edge with those ends, you didn't see them just crashing in on Jared every time. They set the edge. They continue to work into the pocket, right? You slowly kind of close the circle, it's what we did against the Ravens. You set that edge, and now Jahmyr Gibbs can't get to the outside. Why? Because you've got a nickel back, or you've got a safety, or you got a corner, you got somebody that is going to be creeping up to close that off from end to sideline. And then you've got a linebacker in that second level that can close off from the end to sideline. So you set the edge, and then you try to win naturally. Matthew Stafford wasn't going anywhere. I would have probably left the center undefended. I guess that's a wrong term, but I wouldn't have put anybody over the center. I would have put both my guys wide, left the center wide open, and just let Jack do his thing in the middle if he would have stayed there. And you force everything to go through the middle, especially on passing plays. Getting to the outside killed us. Getting into that C gap killed us. Thankfully, we didn't suffer any real major injuries yesterday. We'll see what the injury report says in a couple of days. Lions back at it. We'll have one more day to kind of diagnose. I'm going to go through film today. I am going to put it together as best as I can over the next 24 hours, and I will put it up on the other channel. And then I will share a link in here tomorrow if I get it done today. Otherwise, I'll share a link. Actually, the best place to go and see it is going to be on the Detroit Football Journal, because there I don't have to worry about it. So you just go right here, www.detroitfootballjournal.com. Subscribe. It's free. Everything is free and open for 7 days. After that, it's paywalled. So go ahead and go subscribe right now. All you got to do is put in the email. I don't get your email. I don't want your email. It's just for Substack. That's how they do it. And once you subscribe, you get notifications when things come out. You'll see some things that I write. I try to get a couple articles out every week, but I'm going to go do film review and I'm going to park it in there. And that way you'll be able to see it. So give me a subscribe, obviously like on your way out. Leave us a comment. Tell us what you like, what you didn't like. And just remember this final point. We're going to disagree. And that's okay. My only goal here is to give you some facts. Yes, I am critical of Aiden. I am critical of everyone. I could go up and down the river and be critical of every player on this team. But there are a few players that need to make plays and do what they're supposed to do. And if you listen to Jared Goff yesterday, who did he mention? He mentioned the leaders and the captains. Aiden's a leader. He needs to go do his job. When we need big plays, that is when your leaders and your big-time playmakers are supposed to make plays. He made one in the beginning of the game. It set us up for a touchdown. Look, I think that it was a great play. Absolutely. What I also will say is, where was he after that? Where were the big plays that we needed in the third quarter? How are we going to flip the field? How many balls got punched out? How many balls has he punched out in his career? He's had a couple of strip sacks. We needed balls to get punched out yesterday. Didn't happen. When I go through the tape, you're going to see where the run game was sorely missed. I mean, he missed a lot of opportunity. And that was just from my quick evaluation watching the game yesterday, and then watching a little bit back last night. When I dig into it today, probably going to see a lot more things that we don't like. Derek Barnes was way out of control yesterday. But the missed tackles, man, and just not putting yourself in a position to win, I got to put some of that on Calvin Shepard, but I think more often than not, I get worried about when Aiden says the things like he said 2 weeks ago, that if he needs to play out of the scheme, he will. That scared the shit out of me. Like, dude, you can't just freelance. Maybe he didn't mean it that way, but that's how I took it. Just needed him to step up. But you know who else we needed to step up yesterday? Yeah, AQM. And you know what he did? Out of the 9 plays that they called pressure on NFLPro.com, AQM was involved in every single one of those plays. He did do his job. He did create pressure. I don't know why he's not getting the same attention. Probably because he's not a $181 million man. But he's not getting the same attention for the type of work he does. Everyone just says, well, he didn't get a sack, so he didn't show up. No, go look at what he did. Davenport got back there. Davenport almost had a couple of sacks. When that ball's coming out in under 2.5 seconds, it is extremely unlikely that you're going to get a lot of sacks by anybody. The sack that Aiden got, that was probably 4 seconds. And yes, whoever said that in the chat, that if Aiden didn't chase him, that Anzo wouldn't have been there. Anzo didn't move. Anzo played right in his spot and then moved up to make the tackle. Anzo was right in his space. You might want to go watch the film. I'll show you. It'll be in DetroitFootballJournal.com. It'll just be called Week 15 Tape Review. I'll start doing it for the rest of the year. I don't know why I failed to do it all year. I mean, I do know why. I've been sick a lot. Battling post-cancer. Cancer stuff sucks. Anyway, hard loss. Look, we're still in it. We're still in it. Okay? And until we're out, support your Lions. Okay? Go and probably go Detroit Lions. 3.5 hours today. I'm out of here. You guys have a wonderful day. All right? We'll see you.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down.